Chapter 1095. After dealing with the people of the Enyang Palace, the group headed towards the depths of the island, preparing to search for opportunities on the island. Little Seven, who was leaning against Han Miao Shuang on Chongming's back, suddenly sat up and looked in the direction of the sea. "What's wrong?" Han Miao Shuang asked her. "I seem to smell something, and it's a very familiar smell, but I can't remember what it is." Little Seven said, "You've smelled so many scents, it's normal that you don't remember. It must be something to eat." Han Miao Shuang said with a smile. "No," Little Seven said with certainty. "This isn't the smell of a big radish. I've never smelled this before." "Definitely not. You've never smelled it before, so why do you find it familiar?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "I just feel that it's familiar. I don't know why." Little Seven pouted and said, "If I knew what it was, I wouldn't be like this." "Smell it. Isn't there a very light fragrance?" Hearing that, the others closed their eyes and sniffed, but they didn't find anything special. "There's no smell." "Little Seven, are you mistaken?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "No, there must be some kind of smell. Do you smell it?" Little Seven asked. Sima Yue took a few deep breaths and shook her head, saying, "This place is filled with grass and trees, and there are many kinds of faint fragrances." "Which one are you talking about?" Why can't you guys smell it?" Little Seven anxiously kicked Chongming. Wu Lingyu, who was at the side, furrowed his eyebrows in discomfort. Sima Yu just happened to have something to say to him. Seeing his pale face and furrowed eyebrows, she asked nervously, "Senior brother, what's wrong?" "I'm not feeling well." Wu Lingyu did not force herself to stay awake. She leaned on Sima Yue. "What's wrong, brother Lingyu?" Little Seven asked. "Senior brother, Before Sima Yue could finish her sentence, Wu Lingyu fainted. His head that was resting on Sima Yue's shoulder kept sliding down. "Senior brother?" "Chongming, land." Sima Yue supported Wu Lingyu and shouted at Chongming. Chongming brought them back to land. Sima Yue laid Wu Lingyu flat and checked his body. "Yue, how is he?" Shimin Feng and others also flew over and asked. "His pulse is very slow. He seems to be in a coma." Sima Yue said, "But it's okay. He'll wake up after a while. You knew that this would happen, so don't worry." Seven consoled. Wu Lingyu encountered a problem during the soul fusion. Her body would fall into a coma every once in a while. Even if she woke up, there would be a period of weakness. This was something that Sima Yue and Little Seven already knew. Now that she knew that he had fainted because of this, Yue slowly calmed down. "You already knew? What's going on?" Shimin Feng asked. "Senior brother's body has an old illness. He would fall into a coma every once in a while. He'll be fine when he wakes up." Sima Yue explained. "Is there really no problem? Why did he faint so suddenly?" Han Miao Shuang was puzzled. There really weren't any signs. Sima Yue said, "Could it be related to the smell that Little Seven mentioned just now?" It seems like Little Seven said that he was feeling unwell after smelling something. Kong Sengyi guessed, "I'm going to bring him to the Little Realm for a check. You guys don't have to follow me. Feng, bring them forward first." Sima Yue said. She hadn't checked Wu Lingyu's body in detail yet. She didn't know what would happen after she went in. She also didn't know how long it would take. If they followed her, she didn't know how long it would take. She might as well let them search on their own. Shimin Feng understood this as well, so he didn't say anything else. "If there's any danger, remember to contact us." "You too." Shimin Feng brought the people from Heartbreak Valley and Kong Valley away. Little Seven, Han Miao Shuang, and Su Xiao stayed behind. "Help me look around. I'm going to check Senior Brother," Sima Yue said. The three of them nodded. They formed a triangle around her and surrounded her in the middle. Sima Yue inserted her divine sense into Wu Lingyu's body and checked his condition carefully. "What's going on?" After she went in, she realized that Wu Lingyu's internal organs were all beating very slowly. His heartbeat was less than half of a normal person's. Qilin. She called for Wu Lingyu's contract beast in his body. "What?" Fire Qilin's lazy voice came. "When Senior Brother fainted last time, were his internal organs like this too?" "No, it was normal." Fire Qilin said, "But I can feel that he's fine now." He's just sleeping. Senior brother said that there were some signs when he fainted last time. Why is it so sudden this time? Do you know the reason? If you don't know, how would I know? I'm not a doctor. All right, don't disturb me. I'm resting. Fire Qilin's voice gradually became softer. It seemed that he had fallen asleep along with Wu Lingyu. Sima Yue was helpless. She could only continue to check his condition. She came to Wu Lingyu's dantian. She realized that there were 2 balls of light, one black and one white. The black one should be the devil's power that came from his soul. The other ball of white light was covered with various colors of spiritual energy. The black and white light existed in his dantian at the same time, but they didn't seem to be together. It seems like senior brother is right. One belongs to the soul, and the other belongs to the body. The 2 of them are in different containers. So even if their attributes clash, it's not as dangerous as it is for me. Sima Yue sighed. She didn't know how he escaped from the fate of the devil god's body. She checked him carefully. She still didn't find any abnormalities, other than the fact that his organs were operating slower by half. After searching for a while, she still couldn't find anything. She could only leave. Since Fire Qilin said that he was fine, then he should be fine. Han Miao Shuang and the others saw that she was done checking and flew back. Little junior brother, how is it? Han Miao Shuang asked. I didn't find anything. Sima Yue said, but his contract B said that he's fine, so he should be fine. Then what we do now? Wait for him to wake up? Little Seven asked. No need. We don't know when he'll wake up. We don't know how long we have to wait. Sima Yue said, put him in the spirit pagoda. Let little spirit and the others watch over him. That's fine too. This way, it won't affect our search for the ruins. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue kept Wu Lingyu in the spirit pagoda. Then, she let Chongming bring them to the depths of the island. This book came from a book. Chapter 1096. They randomly picked a direction to walk in, not knowing if it was the same direction as Shimin Feng and the others. Since Lin asked her to act alone, then there was no need for her to chase after them. Is there really an emperor's historical remains in this immortal land? Little Seven said, isn't this immortal land supposed to be sealed off? Why would those emperors live here? This immortal land and little realm used to be connected to the mainland. Naturally, there would be people living here. It's just that we don't know if it was an emperor in the past. Han Miao Shuang said. Wow, you even know about this. Little Seven looked at Han Miao Shuang with admiration. Although the Han clan isn't that great, they're still a big clan. It's normal to know some things. Han Miao Shuang said. Then what else do you know? Little Seven asked. That's all I know, but I read in a book before, this immortal land doesn't seem to be in our galaxy. There are other galaxies as well. Maybe there are things and people here that don't belong to our continent. Han Miao Shuang said. Other galaxies? Yeah. I read in a book when I was young that we aren't the only ones. There are other continents, etc. But I was young then, I didn't know much about this. After that, I didn't see that book again. I don't know if what the book said is true. Han Miao Shuang shrugged. Are there really other places? Yu, what do you think? Little Seven blinked her big eyes. Maybe. Sima Yue wasn't too surprised. In the past, the ancient people felt that the place they grew up in was very big, but they found out that there was another country. After that, they felt that the country was very big, but there were other countries outside the country. There were other continents outside the continent they lived in. After that, they found out that the earth was round, and that the earth revolved around the sun. And then they found out about the solar system, the Milky Way, the endless universe, etc. Since it was like this in the past, she wouldn't be too surprised if they told her how many continents there were. Speaking of emperors, Yu, how's the halberd in your hand? Han Miao Shuang asked. I've already refined it these years, but I can only barely use it. And without getting the other half, it doesn't have much power. Not as good as Ling Long Sima, Yue added in her heart. Inside the spirit pagoda, the heaven's halberd that little Roar was using to dig suddenly became very excited. It shook vigorously, but was pressed down by little Roar. Don't move, we have to dig a hole. Little Roar patted the heaven's halberd. Little Spirit appeared in the air and looked down at the filthy little Roar holding the heaven's halberd with a helpless look. He had been here for so long, but the guy below still hadn't noticed. This was the first time he had seen him so serious about something. "What are you up to now?" he asked aloud. Little Roar twisted his butt and turned his head to look at Little Spirit before turning back and saying, "I'm digging a hole." "Why are you digging holes?" Little Spirit flew down and saw that it had dug dozens of holes. His face was full of black lines. You said that when a girl is unhappy, if a boy gives her roses, she will be happy. Little Dream is unhappy all day and doesn't smile anymore. So I want to plant a field of roses. This way, when she sees these roses, she will be happy. Little Roar waved the heaven's halberd in his hand and said excitedly. Little Spirit didn't know what to say about this unreliable guy. If he was asking for a beating, he was doing it to make Little Dream happy. If he was being considerate, he actually used the heaven's halberd to dig here and dug so many holes. If you want to dig a hole, so be it. But you dug a 1-meter deep hole. Are you going to plant roses or bury yourself in it? If you knew that you used the heaven's halberd to dig, do you think she would confine you? Little Spirit said faintly. Little Roar's excited eyes became sober. It seemed that you cherished this thing. Thinking of her punishing him, his 2 ears drooped. You wouldn't punish me, right? Even he didn't have the confidence to say these words. I think it'll be hard. Little Spirit said, "Don't scare me." Little Roar hugged the heaven's halberd and said, "Do you think I am?" Little Spirit had a serious look on his face, causing Little Roar to feel even more chills down his spine. Little Dream walked over from afar and carried Little Roar out of the hole. She smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. You won't punish you." The current Little Dream was very different from before. If she was a pure black lotus in the past, then she was now a black rose, beautiful and enchanting, ready to prick people at any time. Little Roar saw the smile on Little Dream's face and threw away the heaven's halberd in his hand. He said excitedly, "Little Dream, you finally smiled. After so many days, you finally smiled." Little Dream stuck her face on Little Roar's back and said, "How lucky am I to have you? You and everyone to accompany me." She was a sinner and should suffer endless pain and blame, not their love for her. Little Dream, we are a family. Little Roar felt the bitterness in Little Dream's words and comforted her. "If I make a mistake in the future, don't despise me." "I won't." Little Roar is the cutest. Little Dream kissed Little Roar's forehead and promised. Little Roar was a little confused by Little Dream's kiss and could only laugh foolishly. Little Spirit looked at the silly Little Roar and shook his head in disdain. However, he still said to Little Dream, "Although this guy is unreliable, there's one thing he said that is right. We are a family, and you're not the only one who has to bear those things. We will be with you." Little Spirit rarely said such emotional words. After he finished speaking, he felt a little embarrassed and ran away. However, after he left, the holes that Little Roar had dug were all filled back up. Following that, rose sprouts grew out of the soil. Those sprouts grew up at a speed visible to the eyes, and very quickly, beautiful and fragrant flowers bloomed. Moreover, there were flowers of various colors. This place became a rose garden, a garden specially formed for Little Dream. The smile on Little Dream's face widened, but tears fell from her eyes. "Thank you all." Little Roar was in Little Dream's embrace with an unhappy face. This Little Spirit only knew how to steal his limelight. It was obviously him who wanted to plant roses for Little Dream, but this guy turned this place into a garden and even filled up the holes that he had painstakingly dug. Unhappy, unhappy. Little Dream carried Little Roar to the garden and sat down. Smelling the thick fragrance of the flowers, she said, "Little Roar, you can play here. I need to quickly digest the energy in my body and go out early." "Oh." Little Roar walked out dejectedly. "Little Roar, you are the best." When Little Roar heard this, his spirit returned and he walked majestically. Chapter 1097. Sima Yue sensed what was happening in the spirit pagoda and smiled faintly. She didn't think that Little Roar would be so good. Seeing that he had made Little Dream's mood better, she didn't pursue the matter of him using the heaven's halberd to dig the ground. If Emperor Qingdao knew that his divine weapon was being used as a tool for digging, it was unknown whether or not he would be so angry that he would directly go to Little Roar and crush him into a pancake. Thinking of Emperor Qingdao, she unconsciously sighed. Back then, at Sky Reaching Pavilion, Emperor Qingdao's words to her rang in her ears. From time to time, he would jump out to remind her that the world was changing and that she had to find the reason and the solution. Emperor. He wondered if he would really encounter the ruins of an emperor this time. This island is really big. They had been flying around the island for a long time, but they hadn't even seen a single person, let alone the ruins. Previously, when they were close to the sea, there were still some spirit beasts roaming about, but now there was nothing. After walking for a few more days, they still didn't see any places that looked like ruins. Are there really relics here? Little Seven was about to lose her patience. This is a deserted island with no signs of life. I think so too. This place doesn't look like a ruin. Han Miaoshuang said. Why not? Su Xiaoxiao asked. Look at the places we walked past. Even if there weren't any great treasures, at least there would be some extinct spirit herbs or something. But here, there are only ordinary trees. There's no spiritual energy at all. It's even worse than the plants in other places. Han Miaoshuang said. That's right. These trees and grasses don't have any spiritual energy. I can't smell anything. Little Seven agreed. We've been in this forest for 2 days, but we haven't found anything. Su Xiao said. Don't you think that the more abnormal it is, the more suspicious it is? Sima Yue said. If the sunrise was abnormal, there must be something wrong. The more abnormal it was, the more it meant that there was a problem. Is there a problem? Seven asked. Think about it. The entire immortal land is filled with spiritual energy. Every flower and grass is filled with spiritual energy. But why are the flowers and trees on this island the most ordinary, without any spiritual energy at all? Sima Yue said, Why do you think this is? What else could it be? There definitely wasn't any spiritual energy for them to eat. Without anything to eat, they naturally became skin and bones. No, they became normal plants. Little Seven said. Then why is there spiritual energy everywhere except here? Sima Yue asked again. Do you even need to think about it? It was definitely eaten by someone. Little Seven said confidently. Who could eat so cleanly in such a large area? He must be someone very powerful. That's it. Little Seven slapped her forehead and said, That's right. If there wasn't anything here that absorbed all the spiritual energy, this situation wouldn't have happened. Could it be that something in the ruins has absorbed the spiritual energy? I don't know. Sima Yue said, We'll know when we find that thing. Then let's continue. Little Seven's interest was piqued. As long as there was a treasure, she would definitely be excited. Aren't you very sensitive to treasures? Use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Maybe we'll find the ruins. Han Miaoshuang teased. I'm just more sensitive to big radishes. Unlike Little Two, who is sensitive to all treasures. If only Little Two was here. Little Seven said. I wonder where Little Two is now, and if he's doing well. Sima Yue missed that little kid. I think that it must be a plant-type treasure to be able to make these flowers and trees lose their spiritual energy. Only then can these flowers and trees be obedient and not absorb spiritual energy. Su Xiaoxiao guessed. Very likely. Han Miaoshuang said. So, Little Seven, use your nose to smell and see where the treasure is. Her eyes were smiling, teasing Little Seven like a dog's nose. Oof. Little Seven stuck out her chin, showing Han Miaoshuang the back of her head. I'll let Hua Hua try. Sima Yue said as she called Hua Hua out, asking her to check if there were any abnormalities here. Hua Hua looked uncomfortable the moment she came out. Her face was pale, and her forehead was sweating profusely. Hua Hua, what happened to you? Hua Hua couldn't maintain her human form and turned into a man-eating flower, landing in Sima Yue's hands. Master, there's a very powerful thing here. With it around, I can't breathe. Hua Hua said in fear. Do you know where it is? Sima Yue asked. East. Sima Yue saw Hua Hua trembling as she spoke, and could only keep her back into the spirit pagoda. Seems like that thing's level is very high. If not, even Hua Hua wouldn't be so afraid of it. Su Xiao said. Hua Hua was the man-eating flower king after all. Among the plant types, she was considered to be of a higher level. Those plant-type spirit beasts would be intimidated by her aura when they saw her. But now, she only felt the existence of that thing, and she was already suppressed to this extent. How powerful was that thing? Yu and the other two thought of this question. Then, they turned to look at little Seven, who was looking around curiously. Hua didn't even have the power to resist for a moment. Why was this guy so relaxed when they were both plant-type spirit beasts? She didn't even feel the aura of that guy. Was it because she was from a different world, or that thing didn't even enter little Seven's eyes? But thinking about it, little Seven was the eye of the earth after all. She was a treasure born from heaven and earth. She wasn't an ordinary plant-type spirit beast. Since we already know the direction, let's hurry over, little Seven said. I'm very curious about this thing now. Let's go. Sima Yu called out Little Rock and got him to bring them to the east. With Little Rock speed, they flew for an entire day before flying out of the forest. This forest is huge. We've flown so far, and we still haven't seen that thing. Did we miss it? Han Miao Shuang asked. No, Little Seven said confidently. I smell that smell. It's the smell I mentioned before. It's getting stronger and stronger. I think we're getting closer to it. The further east they went, the more serious Little Seven's expression became. She didn't even talk to them anymore. After going over a small mountain range, what entered their eyes was a boundless grassland. And in the middle of the grassland, a towering tree swayed with the wind. Its height was comparable to a small mountain. The tree crown covered a radius of 1 kilometer. A single tree represented an entire region. This is that treasure? Han Miao Shuang and the rest were stunned. Ordinary trees, even if they lived for tens of thousands of years, their tree crown wouldn't be so big. They would choose to develop their roots. If the tree crown was so big, then how big was this tree? This book came from the book and book #web. Chapter 1098. Not only was the tree huge, it was also very special. Golden leaves. Sima Yue and the rest looked at the golden book and stopped in their tracks, not daring to go near it. Golden leaves? What tree is this? Han Miao Shuang and the rest had never seen a tree with golden leaves. They didn't know what tree it was. Divine tree banyan. Little Seven muttered. Little Seven, you know this? Little Seven didn't answer Han Miao Shuang. She flew away from Little Rock and flew towards the banyan tree. Little Seven, Sima Yue subconsciously wanted to grab Little Seven. They didn't even know if the tree was dangerous. They couldn't just fly over. But Little Seven's speed was very fast. She only caught the wind that she brought out. Little Seven came to the front of the banyan tree, paused, flew into the leaves, and disappeared. Even her aura disappeared. Little Seven. Sima Yue kept Chongming into the spirit pagoda and flew towards the banyan tree with Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao. There's a spirit barrier in front, Su Xiao said. Sima Yue called out Little Roar and merged with him, then pulled one in each hand and brought them through the spirit barrier, stopping in front of the banyan tree. Where did Little Seven go? They looked around the tree, but didn't see Little Seven's figure. Let's split up and see if she's in the tree crown, Han Miao Shuang said. The three of them nodded, and each of them looked in a direction. Aya! Han Miao Shuang suddenly cried out. Sima Yue turned her head and saw her being wrapped by a ray of light. Then she disappeared. Ugh! A groan came from Su Xiao's side. When Sima Yu looked over, he had disappeared as well. Senior brother, senior sister? She called out a few times, but no one answered her. She walked under the tree carefully, but what she didn't know was that as she walked, she disappeared under the tree. The banyan tree returned to its usual silence. A wave of dizziness hit her. She was wrapped by something and couldn't breathe properly. She tried to struggle, but she didn't have enough strength here. She felt that she was falling. She didn't know how many 100 meters she had fallen, but she still didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. She mobilized the spiritual power in her body, trying to keep her body balanced so that she could fly down, but her body couldn't move at all. In a daze, she saw that she was getting closer and closer to the ground, but her body still couldn't move. She subconsciously closed her eyes and wondered if she would become the first spirit master to fall to her death. The pain she expected did not come. She opened her eyes and saw that she had stopped a few meters above the ground. Before she could react, the light dissipated and she fell heavily to the ground. It didn't hurt. She reached out and touched it. There were leaves all over her body. Judging from how soft they were, there should be a thick layer. She got up from the ground and looked at the dark place. She released a flame to illuminate the place. There was a sealed hole that was about the size of 2 basketball courts. It was surrounded by brown tree bark folds. It seemed like this was the tree hole of the dendrobium tree. Little 7? Senior brother? Senior sister? No one answered her. It seemed like they were not here. She looked around. Other than the tree bark, there was nothing else. She looked up again. There was a dark hole above her. She tried to mobilize the spiritual power in her body again. It was useless. The spiritual power stayed in her dantian. There was no reaction at all. Without spiritual power, she could not fly. It was even more impossible for her to fly up. Chongming. She called out for Chongming. However, Chongming did not come out this time. Little rock? 1,000 resonance? No one answered her. Don't waste your energy. You can't contact anyone here. A gentle voice suddenly sounded, giving her a shock. Who is it? She looked at the sky. No one was here. Suddenly, the tree trunk lit up with a golden light. In the light, the image of a cultured and elegant man appeared on the tree trunk. You are the dendrobium tree? Sima Yue asked with uncertainty. Yes. The man smiled and said, You can call me the Tree of Life. The Tree of Life of the elf tribe? She didn't know why, but seeing him like this, she subconsciously said this. Elf tribe? When did a new tribe appear in this world? The man muttered. His eyes unconsciously revealed a faint sadness. It seems like this is not the Tree of Life that I know of. Did you bring me here? She asked softly. Facing such a man, she couldn't bear to speak loudly. It was as if she was afraid that she would disturb his gentleness. Yes, the man admitted. Why did you bring me here? Sima Yue asked again. Those who can find this place are fated people. They can obtain the inheritance of the Tree of Life. However, before that, they have to go through a test. Then are my senior brothers and sisters the same? Yes. However, they're in another place. The man said, Everyone's test is individual. Then what about my spirit beast? Are you talking about the one on you? It has already returned to your contracted space. Here, you can only rely on yourself. You can't rely on external forces. Is little 7 the same? Who is little 7? The Eye of Earth. Oh, you're talking about her. She's too weak now. I will help her evolve. She is different from you. She doesn't need to be tested. The man said, You can help her evolve? Of course. Although she is not an ordinary plant, she can still do it. The man said, Not an ordinary plant? Then what is she? Have you ever seen a plant that likes to fight so much? The man asked. Sima Yue thought for a while. She didn't think so. Even if it was Hua Hua, she had a strong attack power. However, she wasn't particularly fond of fighting. But little 7 was different. Every time she saw someone she didn't like, she would directly attack them. She always talked about beating people up. Plant-type spirit beasts were mostly gentle. They were filled with love and vitality. However, little 7, just thinking about it gave her a headache. Then what is little 7? Sima Yue asked. The Eye of the Earth was a race with very strong fighting power in ancient times. They belonged to the plant-type spirit beasts. Later on, they gradually declined. Until now, I have only seen this Eye of the Earth. The man said, Do you know what the Eye of the Earth does? Sima Yue shook her head and said, I only know that the Eye of Earth can help in cultivation. I don't know what else it can do. The Eye of Earth's chi can indeed help you humans in cultivation. However, it has an even greater use. What? It can help in advancement. The man said. Seeing Sima Yue's disapproving face, he added, If a monarch rank expert wants to become a monarch, with the help of the Eye of Earth, the success rate will increase by 70%. If a monarch wants to advance, with the help of the Eye of Earth, the success rate will also increase. Chapter 1099. Sima Yue was so shocked that she could not close her mouth. After living for so many years, she was rarely so surprised. After a while, she finally regained her focus. At the same time, a deep sense of worry welled up in her heart. With such a heaven-defying effect, wouldn't Shao Qi be in even more danger if others knew about it? Perhaps it is because of this that the Eye of the Earth has become like this. She sighed. If she is strong, the danger will be much less. The man had been observing her. After learning about the heaven-defying effect of the Earth's eye, she didn't have a trace of greed or excitement. She was only surprised and worried after the surprise. Unlike the people he had met in the past, they would become greedy after knowing some good things. You don't want to take her for yourself? As far as I know, there is no contract between you and her. Do you want to form a contract with her before she becomes very strong? He asked tentatively. Sima Yue shook her head. I have never thought of forming a contract with Little Seven. Even though I now know that she has a greater use, I never thought of it that way. Why? With her, you will become stronger and go further. Without her, I can become stronger and go further. Sima Yue said. Don't tell me you don't want external help. Continue to walk on your own? The man asked. Of course not, Sima Yue said. I'm not a cultivator. I'll naturally use external forces if I need them. It's just that Little Seven is my friend, my little sister. She's someone I've set my mind on. In my eyes, she's not a cultivation treasure. She's just my friend. I won't sacrifice my friends for my own improvement. The man stared at Sima Yue and sighed in his heart. In this place, he was the master. Whether Sima Yue was telling the truth or not could not be hidden from him. He could feel that when she said those words just now, she really did think of Little Seven as a companion and not a treasure. I hope you'll stick to what you're thinking now, he said softly. I hope it will always be like this. Sima Yue said, perhaps in the future, when my realm changes, some of my thoughts will also change. But I hope that no matter how far I go, I can always stay the same. What a great sentence. The man's voice was a little excited. He hadn't heard such words for a long time. It was impossible for a person to have the same mentality for their entire life. With the increase of strength, the difference in realm, the richness of experience, and the change in living environment, people would always change. But no matter how much she changed, as long as her heart remained the same, she was still her. I didn't expect you to be able to see things so clearly at such a young age. The man said, it's a pity that you're in a bad situation now. I don't know if you can stay like this forever. Huh? Sima Yue did not understand what he was talking about. Your body is very bad. The man said, I haven't seen a god-devil body for many years. Fortunately, you've trained your body well. Otherwise, you would have exploded and died. Sima Yue did not expect him to find out about her problem so quickly. She was stunned and then smiled bitterly. Although I've trained well, it's still a threat if it's not solved. Your Tao heart is firm. You'll find a way. The man said, I believe in my judgment. You're more confident than me. Sima Yue said, you're actually not that worried yourself, right? The man smiled and exposed her thoughts. It's not that I'm not worried. I just feel that if I can find a way, I'll find one. If I can't find one, then I can only accept it. Sima Yue said, but before I die, I want to complete my task and die without regrets. You're quite open-minded. Didn't the ancients say that everyone will die sooner or later? As long as I don't have any regrets, even if I die, it doesn't matter. As long as I don't die before I complete my task, it's fine. The man chuckled. Your way of thinking is really different from others, but it's to my liking. Initially, I wanted to give you something and let you go, but now I've changed my mind. Didn't you say that there's still a test? Sima Yue asked curiously. The test is already over. You've passed the test. The man said, chatting is the test. Sima Yue blinked. Was the test that easy? What else did you think it was? The man chuckled. What kind of physical torture and mental torture do I have to give you? Air. That was what she really thought. I already knew about your matters when you entered this place. The man said, your talent, your perseverance, I've already known about it from what happened in the past. So I don't have to test you on these. You know everything about me? Did that mean that he knew about her secrets too? You don't have to worry about others knowing about your secrets. The man said, I've accumulated many people's secrets here. I don't have the heart to reveal all of them. Hee, it's inevitable that I'm worried. Sima Yue chuckled. In the past, those who passed my test would obtain my essence. However, I think that I can give you something else if you can obtain it. The man continued. So you're saying that I might not be able to obtain it? Sima Yue asked. Yes and no. The man said. Then can I exchange it for something else? Sima Yue asked. Exchange it for something else? Yes, how about this? I'll exchange it for something else. I don't want it anymore. Come with me. Sima Yue said shamelessly. The man was amused by Sima Yue's idea. However, he did not agree to her request. The golden light dispersed, and the image on the tree trunk disappeared. The tree veins here contain a lot of meaning. If you can understand it, you can leave this place. If you can't, you'll have to stay here until you understand it. Hey, you can't be like this. Aren't you kidnapping me? Sima Yue shouted. Even if the joke she made with him just now made him unhappy, there was no need for him to be like this. Qing Yi. What? My name. The man said. Qing Yi. Are you yellow? Why are you called Qing Yi and not Huang Yi? Qing, he decided to ignore her. This guy was indeed a hooligan. Qing Yi, if I understand it, will you come with me? Sima Yue asked the air. He still ignored her. If you don't answer me, I'll take it as a yes. When I come out of seclusion, you'll have to come with me. I'll bring you to see the outside world. Qing, he was a little regretful. He shouldn't have allowed her to comprehend his Tao. Chapter 1100. Read 336. The silent aura in the tree hole enveloped her. She seemed to feel that he was a little angry, although he wasn't really angry. At his age, there were very few things that could anger him. Sima Yue walked around, but there were only tree folds around her. Could it be that he wants me to comprehend some principles by looking at these things? She slowly sat down. The soft leaves exuded a faint fragrance, which made her feel comfortable all over after smelling it. Tree folds, tree folds. What kind of logic can be contained in tree folds? She stared at the tree folds, but tree fold were tree folds. She did not find anything different. At the same time, in the other tree holes, Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao were also comprehending. But unlike her, they were in an illusion. What they saw were different environments, not the most primitive tree folds like hers. Qing Yi. Little Seven lay on a tree branch and called out to the person beside her. Qing Yi turned her head to look at the young lady in front of her. She used to be her friend, a very, very good friend. Qing Yi. I remember you. Little Seven said, I'm sorry, I forgot about you. Qing Yi smiled and reached out to pat her head, saying, I didn't expect you to degenerate to this extent. You must have suffered a lot over the years. Little Seven shook her head. Without memories, there is no pain. As she spoke, she sat up and leaned on Qing Yi's body, saying, but after so many years, you still remember. You remember what happened in the past. You are in much more pain than me. Qing Yi hugged Little Seven. Her small body was different from before. The feeling was different, but the smell was the same as in his memory. How many years had it been? He couldn't remember how many years he hadn't seen her. When you were captured, your spirit energy was sucked dry by them. From then on, no one knew if you were dead or alive. I thought I would never see you again. He caressed her hair like before, his movements as gentle as ever. Unfortunately, they were no longer the same people as before. Little Seven laid in his embrace, absorbing the scent of his body. Qing Yi, did you know? When I was conscious, I always thought that I was just a newborn baby. I was like a baby who was curious about the world and slowly grew up. But the moment I saw you, my memories were completely restored. Only then did I realize that things were not as I thought they were. I am very happy to be able to see you again, to be able to remember our past. It's a pity that we weren't strong at that time. If not, we wouldn't have to watch them take you away. Ching, he was regretful. Little Seven raised her head and saw him blaming himself, her heart. What happened back then wasn't your fault at all. You didn't have to punish yourself like this. You came here and stayed for so many years. I can't imagine how you have survived all these years. How lonely must it be for you to be here alone? Ching, he just smiled faintly. Lonely? Should be. But he was so lonely that he had forgotten what loneliness was. Sigh, what should we do? Little Seven sighed. What? Little Seven reached out and pinched Ching Yi's face, then touched her own little face and said, What should I do? Although I've recovered my memories, I still feel that I'm so young and you're so old. Will there be a generation gap between us? Ching, he was speechless. Seeing the smile in Little Seven's eyes, he helplessly and lovingly said, Little Seven, you're being naughty. Little Seven, you have become bad. How have I become naughty? This is indeed a problem between us. Don't you think that I'm very young now? Little Seven stared at Ching Yi, as if she was going to get angry if he said no. Ching Yi laughed. Yes, you are very young now, like a little doll. Che, you're laughing at me. Little Seven pouted. No. Ching Yi said, seeing that she was angry. He was not anxious. Say, if Sima Yuan knows that I am teasing her, will she be angry with me? No, Yu is not that easily angry. Little Seven said. Moreover, you are not teasing her. If she can understand her own Tao from you, she will be grateful to you. She is indeed not bad. She is also good to your heart. Ching, he said, I will be at ease if you follow her. You are not coming with me. Little Seven grabbed Ching Yi's clothes and looked at him nervously. If you don't come with me, what if you can't protect me? What if one day I am taken away again? If my spiritual energy is sucked dry again, can I still regain my consciousness? What if I forget about you again? The more Little Seven said, the sadder she became. She burst into tears. Ching Yi saw Little Seven's tears and panicked again after so many years. Thinking about what she said, if it all became true. No, it won't. He will not let it become true. All right, don't cry. I didn't say that I won't go with you. Ching Yi gently wiped her tears and comforted her. He originally wanted to say that he was used to this place, but he could not let anything happen to her. He did not know if he could bear the pain of losing her again. Really? Little Seven asked while sobbing. Of course it's true. When have I ever lied to you? Before you grew up, when I was still a dumpling, you would always lie to me. Little Seven brought up their childhood. That was already a few 100,000 years ago. Ching Yi was helpless. No matter how long ago it was, it still existed. Little Seven snorted. All right, after we grew up, I didn't lie to you. That's because after I grew up, I became smarter. You can't lie to me anymore. You have become narcissistic now. All right, I already said that I'll go with you. Don't cry. Ching Yi saw her tears and his heart ached. That year, when she was taken away in front of his eyes, the tears on her face made him hurt for tens of thousands of years. Now, he did not want to see her tears at all. He could not bear her tears. I can't control myself. Who told you to tease me? Little Seven complained. It's all my fault. Be good, don't cry. Ching Yi hugged Little Seven and patted her back gently. But I have a condition to go with you. What condition? Little Seven leaned on his chest and asked in a muffled voice. Although I'm going out, unless you are in danger, no matter what happens, I will not make a move. Ching Yi said, I don't want you to make a move. I know that you're restricted by the heavenly Tao. I won't let you be in danger. Little Seven said, after we go out, I will protect you. All right, you protect me. Ching Yi smiled. Although her personality had changed quite a bit, she still treated him the same as before. This happiness that was hard to come by, he would not let anyone take it away from him, not even the heavens. This book came from Pin and Book Hashtag. Chapter 1101. Crazy Wife. Godly Doctor 5th Miss Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago, 2. Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago, 2. Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago, 2. Little Seven fell asleep in Qing-Yi's embrace. That quiet look was poles apart from her usual self. Qing-Yi caressed her face, his gaze gentle and satisfied. Qing, a murmur in her sleep melted his heart. But the following words made 3 black lines appear on the back of his head. Good for you guys, so savage. Come over and let your little grandaunt beat you up. He shook his head helplessly, saying softly, It's still you. Why did your personality change so much? But you're still as cute as ever. He leaned over and kissed little Seven's forehead lightly. Looking up, he saw her bright eyes. You're sneakily kissing me again. Little Seven smiled. Qing didn't feel awkward about being caught, saying, All right, you should go and evolve. You won't run away while I'm evolving, right? Little Seven asked. That's true. Little Seven nodded, sighing, saying, We were about the same in the past. When it comes to fighting, you're not as good as me. But now you're so far ahead of me. I'll wait here for you to catch up to me. Qing said, Go on. I'll wait for you to evolve. Right? You have to slow down the time. I still have to go to the ruins with you to get the treasure. Little Seven said, Aren't you worried that she won't be able to come out? Qing-Yi asked. Of course not. Who is you? How could she not come out? Little Seven said confidently, Even if the entire world can't comprehend it, you won't have a problem. It's just that it's a bit difficult to comprehend it just by looking at your tree. You just have to give her more time to prepare. Since I'm done evolving, we can come out together. All right, Qing nodded. As a godly tree of life, it had the ability to adjust time in its own body. Then I'll go in. Little Seven said reluctantly. Go. I'm really going in. I'll wait here for you to come out. Vomit. Little Seven pouted and pulled on Qing-Yi's clothes. She pulled him in front of her and gave him a big kiss on the lips. Then, she went into the tree hole with satisfaction. Qing-Yi stood rooted to the ground. Then, the corners of his mouth rose, and he smiled shyly. Naughty fellow. Although he said that, he was actually very happy. He savored the aftertaste for a while before his body melted into the tree trunk. On the other hand, a few days after Sima Yue and the rest arrived at the island, more and more people arrived at the island. Those people waited for the seawater to change. Plus, the boat was not as fast as the ship. By the time they reached the island and saw the corpses of the Yin-Yang Palace people, the corpses were already highly decomposed. However, they were still able to recognize their identities through their attire and some of their symbolic items. These wounds should have been caused by sea beasts. Why are they all from Yin-Yang Palace? I don't see anyone from Kong Valley and Heartbreak Valley. They must have separated after arriving on the island. Someone guess. I think so. Heartbreak Valley and Yin-Yang Palace people don't know each other. They were only brought here because of Kong Sang-Yi's request. Now that they're on the island, they naturally have to separate from them. Otherwise, it would be hard to split the treasures. Poor Yin-Yang Palace people. They came to the island so early. In the end, they didn't encounter anything and turned into a pile of broken limbs. Who asked them to come so early? It feels like they were rushing to their deaths. Maybe the people who came first are all in trouble. Then we're the earliest people. There are so many people. It's impossible that they're all dead. Instead of talking about this here, why don't we look for the ruins now? That's right. Let's go. Poor Yin-Yang Palace people. Even if they were discovered, no one took care of their corpses. They continued to be exposed to the sun on the island. In the middle of the island, there was a mountain range that stretched for thousands of miles. In front of the mountain range, there was a large patch of green grass. There were a few stone pillars on the grass. When Shimin Feng and Kong Sang-Yi brought people here, there were many scattered footprints on the grass. Seems like someone found this place, Kong Xiangqi said. But they might not have found the ruins. Bai Shang said, Why do you say that? Look at those stone pillars. If not, it wouldn't be the ruins. Bai Shang said, This should be something like a teleportation array. Can it bring us to the ruins after we enter? If we're really looking for the ruins of an emperor, it might bring us there. But how do we activate it? The people who came before us should have successfully activated it. Let the array masters try. Kong Sang-yi said. Kong Valley and Heartbreak Valley both brought array masters. When Kong Sang-yi said that, they took the lead and walked towards the stone pillars. After studying it for a while, they waved to the people behind them. Valley Lord, this is indeed a small teleportation array. However, this teleportation array is random. We don't know where we'll send people. An array master from Heartbreak Valley said. Will it split us up? And I asked. There are a few nodes in this array. People standing on different nodes will be sent to the same place. If they were not on the same node, they would naturally be sent to different places. That's right. We don't know what's behind this array. It might be the ruins, or it might be a very dangerous place. Activating this array isn't difficult. However, I'm afraid of the uncertainty behind. Valley Lord, do you want to advance? Shimin Feng looked at the disciples behind him and said, We don't know what's behind us. Hence, everyone can do whatever you want. If you don't want to go, we won't force you. You can go elsewhere to look for opportunities or wait for us here. Valley Lord, let's go in together. That's right. Valley Lord, we used to be fugitives. What kind of danger have we not seen before? Yes, let's go in too. The people from Kong Valley had the same thought. Since they were here to look for opportunities, how could they give up because of some unknown factors? Shimin Feng looked at Kong Sang-yi. Kong Sang-yi walked over and said, I'll go with you. Kong Xiangqi looked at his little sister and felt a little disappointed. A grown girl couldn't be kept at home. Since you've decided, let's go in, Shimin Feng said. They came to the middle of the stone pillars. Those who were close to them stood together. The array master activated the array, and the group of people disappeared. Not long after they disappeared, a few more people came here. After a round of investigation, they all entered the teleportation array. As for the others, they went around in circles and actually came to where Qing-yi was. Look, a golden tree! Those people shouted in surprise. Their voices woke Qing-yi up from her slumber. Could this be the legendary tree of God? An old man recognized it and was so excited that his whole body trembled. Chapter 1101. Love from a few 100,000 years ago, too. Chapter 1102. Red 336. The legendary tree of life is indeed the tree of life. The old man said as he took out an ancient book that was so rotten that it was missing a few corners. He flipped to a page and compared it with the tree in front of him. After confirming that it was the tree of life that he had been searching for many years, he was so excited that he couldn't control himself. Tree of life? What kind of tree is that? The disciple beside the elder asked. The tree of life, also known as the Dendrobium banyan tree, is the oldest tree in the world. After it matures, it will be completely golden. It can be used as medicine, it can help in cultivation, and it can also help in comprehending the Tao. The old man explained, once you reach the monarch level, you need to comprehend the Tao every time you advance. Only by comprehending the Tao can you advance further. Then isn't this tree of life very useful? The essence of the tree of life can increase a person's cultivation. Just one drop is enough to increase a person's cultivation by a small level. If it's an expert above the monarch level, even if they haven't comprehended the Tao, as long as they absorb its essence, they can still advance. The more the old man spoke, the more agitated he became. It was as if he could see himself advancing all the way to becoming a god monarch, or even stronger. Really, the disciples were also excited. If they could obtain the essence of the tree of life, would they still need to worry? Their clan would definitely become a clan that could rival the forces in the inner regions. The ancient book said that the tree of life was extinct a long time ago. I never thought that there would be one here. The immortal realm is indeed the immortal realm. They even have such a treasure. Tree of life, tree of life. This was a genuine tree of life, a fully evolved tree of life. There had been a few dendrobium trees on the continent before, but those that had not turned golden could not be called life tree, so they did not have the same effects as the tree of life. But the one in front of him was different. It was a real tree of life. Patriarch, let's move the tree of life back. Don't worry. The tree of life is not that easy to deal with. The old man said, the ancient book said that the outside of the tree of life will form a barrier to protect itself. We have to find a way to break that barrier first. They slowly approached Qingyi. When they were about 100 meters away from him, they encountered an invisible obstacle. This should be where the barrier is. Ancestor, what should we do? All of you step back. I'll try to see if I can open this barrier. The old man instructed the people around him. The old man's strength was close to that of a venerable one. His attack was not something that an ordinary junior could withstand. Hearing that he was going to attack, everyone hid far away. The old man flew into the air and gathered his spiritual energy. After mobilizing all the spiritual energy in his body, he attacked the barrier with all his might. Boom! The huge impact sent the old man flying. He spun a few times in the air before landing on the ground. The shockwave spread out for thousands of miles before dissipating. Those juniors who were hiding in the distance were also struck by the shockwaves. The weaker ones were directly killed, and only the stronger ones were left. However, all of them were heavily injured. Patriarch! The survivors crawled up and ran towards the old man. Seeing the old man lying on the ground, they flipped him over and found that his face had been blown beyond recognition. Fortunately, he wasn't dead yet. He was still hanging on by a thread. They hurriedly fed him the pill. After a while, he finally opened his remaining eyelids. Tree of Life, Patriarch, don't worry. The Tree of Life is still intact. A junior said. The old man spat out a mouthful of blood. He had used all his strength to strike, yet he had ended up in such a state. Yet, the Tree of Life was completely undamaged. Then wouldn't he be injured for nothing? But that junior still comforted him, saying that the Tree of Life was still intact. He was so angry. Patriarch, don't be angry. Another junior comforted. When your body gets better, we will think of another way. How can we wait for my body to get better? The impact, just now, must have alerted the people nearby. If others come and discover the Tree of Life, what can we get? The old man roared. If someone really comes, it's not bad. What did you say? Patriarch, don't be anxious. Let me finish. That junior said, this Tree of Life's barrier is so powerful. Even if you use all your strength, you won't be able to move it. Even if your injuries are healed, with all of our strength, we might not be able to open this barrier. What little brother said is right. Someone agreed. Patriarch, if we can't open this barrier and subdue this Tree of Life, no matter how useful it is, it's useless to us. No, why don't we spread this news and let others open a path for us? That's right, Patriarch. If we can't get it, there's no point in watching. The old man hesitated. This junior's words were not without reason. Guarding the treasure and not being able to get it, it was indeed useless. Patriarch is already half a step into the Paragon level, but it's useless. If it's just an ordinary person, it's useless. So not only do we have to spread the news, we have to spread it more and more, so that more experts will come. After struggling for a while, the old man finally agreed to this method. Relying on their current strength, they were indeed unable to contend against the Tree of Life. Borrowing the strength of others, this was indeed the only way now. Then you guys go and do it. When he said this, he felt his heart ache. His treasure, the treasure that he discovered. Now that he had to share with others, he felt that his heart hurt more than his body. The two of you first helped the Patriarch to a secret place to recuperate. Another two stay and clean up their corpses. The rest of you come with me. The two of them helped the old man back to the forest on the other side of the mountain, while the others went out to spread the news. The legendary Tree of Life could increase one's strength and help in advancement. This news spread very quickly. Not only did the people on the island know, even the people outside the island knew. More and more people rushed here. The people on the island did not search for the historical remains. There might be treasures in the historical remains, but it would definitely not be as precious as the Tree of Life. Furthermore, the historical remains might only have treasures, or there could be a place where the emperor lived. However, compared to the real Tree of Life, the historical remains were not that important. More and more people came, and more people were blocked outside the barrier. No matter how strong they were, They were still helpless against the barrier. Sima Yue, who was staring blankly at the creases in the tree hole, did not know how lucky she was to be able to come here. Although she had little roar fused with her and was immune to the barrier, if Qing Yi did not attack them, they would not be able to get close to him unharmed. More than 10 days later, the place was filled with people, but no one broke the barrier. More than a month later, the grassland was already filled with people. There were also many experts who came. They were all determined to get the Tree of Life. This book came from the book and book #web. Chapter 1103. Sima Yue was in the tree hole and had no idea what was happening outside. Boring, this was the only feeling she had right now. She sat cross-legged on the leaves with her hands on her knees, supporting her chin as she stared at the tree creases. Folds. Aren't you tired of staring at me like this? If you're annoyed, why don't you just tell me what kind of Tao is contained in your body? Endless silence. Of course, Treefold wouldn't tell her what kind of Tao he had. He said that he didn't even know what he had, because different people would see different things when looking at it. In fact, she couldn't be blamed for being impetuous. There was nothing here except for the wrinkles, but it was impossible to see anything if she kept staring at the bark. If it was a day or two, it would be fine. Or maybe a month or two, she could accept it. However, she felt that she had been here for at least a year. Facing those wrinkles every day, her heart began to feel restless. Qing Yi observed the situation of the 4 people in his body. Since Little Seven had already recovered her memories, this evolution was something she was already familiar with. There was no need to worry too much. Su Xiao and Han Miao Shuang were in the illusion, comprehending and seeing through the illusion. They were mainly testing one's mental strength. As long as one could break through the illusion, they would be able to improve. Only Sima Yue had nothing. Seeing that she was getting more and more impetuous, he wondered if he had overestimated her. She might not really be able to comprehend anything. Seeing that she didn't get anything, Qing Yi decided to change his mind. After Little Seven evolved successfully, he would let her out and give her something else as compensation. Boom! The people outside were attacking the barrier again. They hadn't rested for more than a month. No matter how good his temper was, he was still angry. His gaze darkened as he walked out from the tree trunk. However, he did not reveal himself, so those people would not be able to see him. Xing Yi looked at the densely packed people and narrowed his eyes. With a wave of his hand, those who were attacking the barrier received an even stronger counterattack and were sent flying a few thousand meters away. The Tree of Life is retaliating. Someone shouted. If they wanted to retaliate, they would have done so long ago. Why did it take so long for them to react? You must be mistaken. How could I be wrong? His strength is obviously much stronger than before. Sai, we have been attacking for more than a month, but we can't even break through this barrier, let alone get close to the Tree of Life. Could it be that this barrier is unbreakable? There's no barrier that can't be broken. We just have to find the wrong way. Previously, everyone's attacks were too scattered. What if we all attack the same spot? Maybe. Sai, don't waste your energy. If it's really possible, it won't be your turn. Those forces in the inner regions are all ready to make a move. I guess they're going to join forces. There's nothing we can do if they don't join forces. More people are coming. Xian Xiu, he walked over in a wheelchair, followed by the guards of the Xian Xiu clan. Some of the people in the inner circle saw the logo on Xian Xiu, his clothes, and were very surprised. The people from the Yin clan are here too. Young master, there's a barrier here. The man behind Xian Xiu, he stopped in front of the barrier. Xian Xiu, he stretched out his hand and touched it. An invisible barrier blocked him outside. Stop, he ordered the people behind him. That guard let go of him. He put his hands on the wheel and pushed forward. The wheelchair brought him through the barrier. He went in. God, how'd he go in? Those who didn't know Xian Xiu, his identity, were very surprised. Those who knew his identity were very emotional. As expected of the people from the Yin clan, he went in just like that, sitting in a wheelchair and proficient in barriers. This should be Xian Xiu, he of the Xian Xiu clan. How'd he go in? I heard that Xian Xiu, he is proficient in all kinds of barriers. No barrier can stop him. So it's not strange for him to go in. He wouldn't just like that. If only we could go in too. You can only watch. There's no point in being envious. That's right. Sigh. Let's continue to break the barrier. I wonder if he'll be attacked when he gets close to the Tree of Life. It should be. This barrier is so aggressive. It can be seen that the Tree of Life isn't easy to deal with either. He's close. He's close. It didn't attack him. He's gone. It didn't attack him. He's gone. Could it be that he disappeared after being attacked? He didn't resist. It can't be. I'm so envious. Sigh. Continue to attack. Continue to attack. Ching, he was a little surprised when he saw Xianxiu He. He didn't expect to see the man in Little Seven and Sima Yoyue's memories. After Xianxiu He woke up from his dizziness, he saw Qing Yi on the tree trunk in front of him. He wasn't too surprised. Tree of Life, you're really here. He said faintly, you're not surprised to see me. Qing Yi said, there's something in your brain that makes me unable to see through your memories. It's that thing that makes you unable to see and walk. Yes, I have a friend who said that before. You're not worried. What's there to worry about? Xianxiu He smiled. It's fate. Since it's already like this, what's there to worry about? You're not worried that you won't live long? I'll live as long as I can. It's just death. There will be such a day. You're quite similar to her. No wonder you can be friends. Qing Yi said. My friend? That's right. Qing Yi said. Since you're here, I'll give you a chance to. Xianxiu He didn't have time to ask the next question before the image on the tree trunk disappeared. The environment he was in changed too. He turned into a baby and saw a group of people surrounding him. They were discussing anxiously. He couldn't hear what they were saying. He only felt that it was noisy. Then he saw those people moving around on his body. From then on, he never saw the colors of this world again. Contract with me. I'll make you the master of this world. A voice in the darkness bewitched him. Who are you? I'm you. Impossible. I'm your body. We're one. That voice said, contract with me. I'll bring you to the top of the world and look down on everything in this world. What price will I pay? Price? No, there's no price. We're one. There's no need for you to pay any price. We're one. Why do we need a contract? We're only compatible with our bodies now. This isn't enough. We need to be compatible with our souls. Our bodies and minds are one. Only then can we truly release our powers. When that time comes, you can walk on your own. You can also see the world. Come, let's contract. Chapter 1104. I know who you are. Xianxiu He said, you are the thing sealed in my brain, right? You want to use me and the contract to break the seal. We were born together. I am you, and you are me. We are inseparable. The voice laughed strangely. Without me, you won't be able to live either. Then I'd rather die. At least if I die, you'll be my scapegoat. It won't be too miserable. Xianxiu He said faintly. You want to die? How could you want to die? You are a genius, and the heavens have given you such good talent. Why don't you want it? This is a gift from the heavenly Tao to you. Gift? You? Do you think I'll treat you as a gift from the heavens? Xianxiu He smiled bitterly. You are a punishment given to me by the heavens. That's why I have you in my body. I will find a way to get rid of you. Don't you want to stand at the top of the world? Don't you want others to crawl at your feet? You desire these things too, don't you? No, don't say you didn't. The voice interrupted him. If not, you wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't exist in your body. There is a desire in your heart, a desire for all of this. Xianxiu He was silent as he pursed his thin lips. Yes, you're right. I do have thoughts and desires, but my desire is to see this world with my own eyes, not to be controlled by you. Xianxiu He said, I will fight for everything that I want myself and not rely on selling myself to get it. You don't have to waste your energy on me. His words were sonorous and forceful, and his attitude was resolute. After he finished speaking, the surrounding darkness disappeared, and everything returned to normal. Be magnanimous. Don't forget your original intentions. These words resounded between heaven and earth. Suddenly, 8 golden words appeared in the sky. After flying in a circle, they stopped above the Tree of Life. A golden light appeared, and Xianxiu, his figure appeared on the crown of the Tree of Life. Look, he's out, shrouded in golden light, the Sanskrit chants of heaven and earth. He has obtained his Tao. The grassland was in an uproar. Very few people could truly comprehend the Tao of heaven and earth. Once they did, they would receive the Tao bestowed by heaven and earth. Then, their future cultivation would be smooth. The 8 words flew around the Tree of Life, and then entered Xianxiu's body. The people of Xianxiu clan were even more excited. Before they came in, they had received guidance from Master Yinlin. He said that there would be great opportunities when they came in. They didn't expect that their young master had actually comprehended the way of heaven. This was something that hadn't happened for many years. In the future, the Xianxiu clan would definitely become the #1 hidden clan. When the 8 characters of heavenly Tao entered Xianxiu's body, he felt that the seal in his body became even stronger. He could even see some white light in his eyes. Although it was still a blur, at least it wasn't the endless darkness of the past. You have already obtained your Tao. Leave. As soon as Qing Yi finished speaking, Xianxiu he felt his body being pushed out by a boundless force, arriving outside the barrier. Young master. The people of Xianxiu clan surrounded him. Let's go. Xianxiu he instructed. Yes, young master. The people of Xianxiu clan pushed him out. Before he left, he turned back to look at the Tree of Life. He seemed to have seen that man again. His friend. Who was he talking about? Was it Sima Yue? He didn't know why, but he felt that the person Qing Yi was talking about was Sima Yue because he didn't have many friends. The people of Xianxiu clan came and left after a few days. This made the others very envious. They also wanted to obtain the gift from the Tree of Life. In the next few months, some hidden clans and powers from the inner regions came one after another. They knew more about the Tree of Life than the others. They didn't think of uprooting it because it wasn't something that they could take for themselves. They only hoped to obtain some of its gifts. Even if it was just a little, it would benefit them immensely. Especially when Xianxiu, he comprehended his own Tao in the Tree of Life. This news caused many people in the Immortal Land to come here. They hoped that they could be as lucky as him. Some people went in. Like Xianxiu, they also entered the Tree of Life. They were given a similar test, but no one comprehended their Tao. However, they received other things from Qing Yi. Although they weren't as powerful as the Tao they comprehended, they were still very useful to them. A small portion of the people who came previously left. They realized that they couldn't open the enchantment and couldn't get close to the Tree of Life. They couldn't obtain its gifts. Since they were not fated with this opportunity, they might as well give it up and go to other places to find something that belonged to them. Although the remaining people didn't leave, they understood that it was useless to attack forcefully. They could only think of other ways to enter the enchantment. Even so, there was still an endless stream of people coming here. If they were here for the historical remains before, they were all here for Qing Yi now. In the tree hole, Sima Yue kept staring at the folds in a daze. She didn't know about the battle outside. However, when Xianxiu he succeeded in comprehending his Tao and the heaven and earth bestowed his Tao, she seemed to feel the Buddha's voice trembling. Her heart also trembled. Could it be that senior brother or senior sister succeeded? She stood up and walked around. Until now, she still couldn't use her spiritual power. She couldn't even climb up. I'm so sleepy. Why don't I take a nap? She stretched her waist and laid down on the ground. She just happened to lie in the middle of the tree hole. Looking at the black hole right above her, she seemed to be sucked in. She was obviously very sleepy, but she couldn't sleep. She kept staring at the hole above. As she stared, the hole became a fold on the tree trunk. She rubbed her eyes. It was still the same. She shouted, "Am I possessed?" She closed her eyes and forced herself not to think about anything. However, those folds still appeared in front of her eyes. It's over. I've been looking at this for so long. It's already filling up my head. She knocked on her head and opened her eyes. She looked at those folds filling up the black hole. Why is it getting more and more blurry? She looked at the wrinkles. Originally, the layers were very orderly, but the lines slowly bent and merged together. It was as if it had become a barren land. She seemed to have become a part of the air. She followed the wind and hung on the bare and exposed ground. This place is really barren. There's not even a blade of grass. She thought to herself. She floated around with the wind. However, no matter where she floated to, there were only pieces of rocks. The scorching sun was scorching. The rocks were so roasted that they were smoking. Sima Yue felt as if she was going to be roasted into human jerky. Damn, what kind of place is this? It's good to have some saliva too. Just as she finished speaking, a sweet spring suddenly appeared from the cracked ground. She was shocked. Chapter 11:05. Sima Yue looked at the spring water that came out and licked her dry lips. She could not wait to squat down and use her hands to feed herself. The spring water was refreshing and sweet. After drinking it, the heat in his body dissipated by more than half. Only when she felt better did she have the energy to look around. What the hell is this place? There's nothing here except for this cracked earth. Could it be that I'm hallucinating and seeing the prehistoric continent? She muttered to herself. She didn't know how long she had been here. It had always been daytime, and there had never been a night. Isn't this a world? Otherwise, why would there be only day and no night? If this was my place, I would definitely make it dark. Only then would it be complete. Just as she thought this, the sun slowly set in the west, and night came. F***CK. Could it be that I could do whatever I want here? She was shocked by her own thoughts. However, ever since she thought about day and night, this place had indeed become alternating between day and night, confirming her thoughts. This place was indeed what she wanted it to be. What was the world like? She couldn't remember what the world was like. She clearly had an idea in her mind, but she just couldn't remember what it should be. Tao begets one, one begets two begets three, and three begets all things. That's right. Tao begets one begets two begets three, and three begets all things. Her eyes lit up as she finally remembered what she was thinking about. The world, heaven and earth, could accommodate all things and not be as bare as it was now. Tao begets one. A small fish appeared in the spring, and a blade of grass grew beside the spring. Then the spring water turned into a stream, and then into a river. At the end of the river, a vast ocean slowly formed. One small fish turned into two small fish, two fish turned into three fish, and three fish turned into even more fish. One blade of grass became two blades of grass, two blades of grass became three blades of grass, and three blades of grass became even more blades of grass. Both sides of the river bank turned green. One animal appeared, two animals appeared, and then all kinds of animals. Sima Yue sat on the peak of the mountain and watched the world below slowly become the world she was familiar with. Her heart was filled with satisfaction. There was heaven and earth, mountains and rivers, flowers and trees, birds and beasts, night and day, yin and yang. Is this the world I want? She held her chin and muttered, I wonder if there's anything else. She didn't know how long she had been here, nor did she know what she was doing. She just kept thinking. Seeing the desolate land slowly become full of life, she was very happy. She even forgot to think about where she was and what she was doing. He had been testing those who came in recently and did not pay much attention to the four of them. When he turned around to look at them, he was shocked by their current appearance. Especially when he saw Sima Yue's current state, he was fiercely shocked. Ow, how could this be? With a thought, he came to the place where Sima Yue was and looked at the other world that was formed in the tree hole. Tao begets one, one begets two, then three begets all things. He looked at Sima Yue, who was lying in the middle. She was no longer surrounded by his tree hole, but another world. Territory, you've actually comprehended a territory. Did your rebirth make you understand the meaning of life? The tree of life, a tree that was rich in life energy. He did not expect that one day someone would comprehend a territory from him. Her territory was still unstable and there were not many things in it. She was still perfecting it. He was very curious. He did not know what kind of territory she would form in the end. Sima Yue did not know that she was comprehending a territory. She was just subconsciously perfecting it, making it more stable and wider. The territory that you've comprehended here contains the way of heaven. I'm very curious about what it will be like after you come out. I think those supremacy's territories can't compete with yours. Boom! The intense collision made him frown. He turned around and was already outside. Dozens of monarchs were attacking his enchantment together. There were even 2 supremacies among them. They could not enter the enchantment and could not get close to the Tree of Life. However, when they saw others enter and gain many benefits, they were unwilling to give up. Hence, they discussed attacking together. If it was before, Qing might not care about them. However, now that Sima Yue was comprehending a territory, he could not let these people interrupt this rare opportunity. Even if Sima Yue became stronger and could better protect Little Seven, it was enough for him to protect her. Those who attack the enchantment die. This was the first time Qing Yi had spoken, and the people outside had indeed stopped attacking. Please, Tree of Life, give us this opportunity. Someone shouted. Those who are fated will naturally be able to enter my enchantment. If you can't, it means that we are not fated. You can leave. Qing Yi said calmly. Tree of Life, we've been waiting here for so long. You can give others, but can't you give us some too? I said, those who are fated will naturally be able to enter. Those who can't, it means that we are not fated. You can wait here for a year, 10 years, 100 years. It has nothing to do with me. However, if anyone dares to attack my enchantment again, don't blame me for being impolite. Qing Yi threatened. Qing Yi's words did not give the people outside much of a sense of crisis. This was because they had been here for almost half a year, and they had never seen Qing Yi attack anyone. They did not believe that he would attack. A bad-tempered monarch rank expert was angered by Qing Yi's words. He condensed his spiritual energy and attacked the enchantment. So, pooh, a branch extended from the tree trunk at the speed of light. In the blink of an eye, it was outside the enchantment. When people could see it clearly, it had already pierced through the man's heart. Everyone was stunned. A monarch rank expert was killed by him so easily. With such strength, who would dare to go against him? Those who attacked the enchantment were terrified. They suddenly felt lucky that the Tree of Life was not a bad-tempered person. He did not attack them from the start. Otherwise, even if there were twice as many of them, they would not be his opponent. The branch dragged the corpse into the enchantment. Then, it threw the corpse on the ground. His eyes were wide open, showing his shock and unwillingness. It warned the people outside not to be reckless. Seeing Qing Yi kill someone, they remembered that no one had been able to break the enchantment for more than half a year. Many people wanted to retreat. They no longer dared to attack the enchantment. Since they were not fated, they should leave and look for their own opportunities elsewhere. Pavilion Master, let us give it a try. A tender voice attracted everyone's attention. Chapter 1106. Read 336. Everyone looked over, just in time to see the 2 women remove the veils of their cloaks, revealing their stunning faces. Please search, pin, and book yen. Com, to see the most complete. Update the fastest. Lanner, Hanyu, are you 2 sure you want to try? Yu Qingbi asked. Master, this Tree of Life is not a merciless killer. He killed that expert just now because he attacked the barrier. If we don't do anything, it shouldn't hurt us. That's right, Pavilion Master, let us try. Zhongzheng Hanyu said. Hanyu, you are our holy maiden. Lanner, you are my disciple. If anything happens to you, I might not be able to protect you. Yu Qingbi said, Master, when seeking the great Tao, you shouldn't care about these things. Yu Qingbi thought for a moment and said, Then you guys can go. After getting permission, Zhongzheng Hanyu and Nalan Lan were very happy. They took out the things they had prepared and walked towards the spirit barrier. The 2 of them stood in front of the barrier and looked at each other. Whether or not it works depends on now. Zhongzheng Hanyu said, You have the clan's treasure. It is effective against all kinds of enchantments. You don't have to worry. Nalan Lan said, With your physique, this barrier can't stop you. Zhongzheng Hanyu envied her, but she wasn't bad herself. Nalan Lan smiled and said, Then let's give it a try. The two of them took a step forward at the same time. When they passed through the spirit barrier, the thing in Zhong Zhenghan Yu's hand emitted a white light, allowing her to step over easily. However, the thing in Nalanlan's hand was useless as she was stopped outside. It seems that I am someone recognized by the Tree of Life. Then I'll go in first. Zhong Zhenghan Yu turned around and glanced at her, then turned and walked towards the Tree of Life. Nalanlan looked at her complacent expression and hatred flashed across her eyes. However, now was not the time to be jealous of her. She had to think of a way to enter. She tried 2 more times, but it still didn't work. The people behind her began to whisper. Hearing the discussion behind her and seeing Zhong Zhenghan Yu disappear from under the tree, she clenched her fists in her sleeves. She used so much force that her nails dug into her flesh and blood dripped down her fingers. She couldn't accept this. She had a lotus physique that was second only to a saint physique. How could she not enter? I'll definitely succeed if I try again. This time, she put away the thing in her hand, closed her eyes, and took a step forward. When she encountered the enchantment, the blood in her hand emitted a white light when it came into contact with the enchantment. After the light faded, she was already inside the enchantment. I passed. When the people behind saw that Nalanlan still wanted to try, they were still laughing at her for overestimating herself. However, they didn't expect that the plot would suddenly change and she would actually enter. Nalanlan opened her eyes. When she saw that she was inside the enchantment, her eyes flashed with joy. She knew it. How could she not be able to enter? She continued to walk forward. When she passed by the corpse, she stopped and glanced at him. Her eyes flashed with a hint of disdain, but her back was to the crowd, so no one saw it. She leaned over and brushed her hand across his face, closing his eyes. As expected of the Sage Pavilion's Pavilion Master's disciple, he has such a good heart. That's right, this woman looks like a kind-hearted person. Unlike that young lady just now, she didn't even look at it when she walked past. Actually, there's nothing wrong with that. If it were us, we wouldn't necessarily pay attention to it either. That's why this Nalanlan is even more precious. That's right. This Yu Changbai has taken in a good disciple. When Nalanlan heard those praises, the corner of her mouth rose. She came to the Tree of Life and looked up at the huge tree crown, waiting for the Tree of Life's gift. Qing Yi knew this woman from Sima Yoyue's memories. Just like the woman just now, she more or less had some grudges with Sima Yue. However, since they had entered, he had to give them a chance. This was the condition that he had agreed with heaven. Go in. He waved his hand, and Nalanlan was enveloped by a ray of light, disappearing in front of everyone. Qing Yi laid on the tree branch, thinking about how Sima Yue would react if she knew that these 2 women were here with her. 2 days later, Zhong Zhenghan Yu came out. Unlike the others, she didn't comprehend anything and didn't get her things in the tree hole. After the assessment, she was brought outside the Tree of Life. A tender yellow branch floated in front of her. Zhong Zhenghan Yu felt the strong vitality in the branch and knew that it must be the essence of the Tree of Life. She excitedly took out a bottle and put it under the branch. The Tree of Life shook and a few drops of essence dripped from the branch. Once the essence left, the branch withered and fell to the side of the tree root. Zhong Zhenghan Yu kept the jade bottle and bowed to the Tree of Life, saying, "Thank you, Tree of Life, for your gift." The other people who entered also got the essence, so this gift wasn't bad. However, Qing Yi was still tempted and gave her less than 2 drops. He scanned with his divine sense and didn't expect Nalanlan to comprehend Heaven Dao in the assessment. According to the rules, he couldn't interrupt her now and could only let her comprehend. Body refinement is indeed different. It's so easy to comprehend Dao. I just don't know what she will comprehend. However, no matter what she comprehends, as long as she stepped on this path, she was destined to be different from other cultivators. Han Miao Shuang didn't know how long she stayed in the tree hole. During this period of time, she experienced everything again. Bullied, abandoned, adopted by Su Jin, brought by him to find the Han family to settle the score, came to the academy to study alchemy. No matter how big or small the matter was, she experienced everything again. Going through the past again, she thought she would be angry, sad, angry, and break down uncontrollably. However, in the end, she didn't experience any of these. On the contrary, she was very calm. She looked at those things as if she was looking at other people's things. Why? Why am I not angry or sad? She asked herself, is it because my state of mind is different from before? No one could answer her. She thought for a long time and said, yes, it should be like this. I'm different from before. In the past, when I was bullied, I only felt sad and angry. But now I have master, senior brothers, and junior sisters. They gave me warmth and made my state of mind different from before. That's why I'm so calm, even if I experience the past again. Let the past be the past. I have to look forward and cherish the warmth now. I have to protect this warmth. Yes, cherish, protect. This was her future Tao. Thinking of this clearly, her body seemed to be injected with energy, making her whole body comfortable. Her limbs and bones stretched out. Every pore seemed to open up and absorb the surrounding spiritual energy. Dong, a Zen sound came from the sky again, indicating to the people outside that another person succeeded in comprehending Tao. This book came from the book and book #website. Chapter 1107. The people outside all thought that one person had succeeded in comprehending the Tao, but only Qing-Yi knew that there were two chants. Two people had succeeded in comprehending the Tao. Nalan Lan was very excited. She had been able to comprehend her own Tao in such a short period of time. It must be her physique that allowed her to enter the sect so easily. Holy Lotus Heart. The voice that sounded between heaven and earth was deafening. She accepted it with a smile. As expected of the lotus body, the Tao he comprehended is all holy, someone said. Cherish and protect. A second voice sounded between heaven and earth. Could it be that she comprehended two Taos? Haha, master. Junior sister comprehended two Taos. Comprehending two Taos. This is unprecedented. Pavilion master, your beloved disciple's future is limitless. Haha. Yu Qingbi was overjoyed. Even though he couldn't enter, it wasn't a bad idea for his disciple to take out two portions. Why are there two people? When the crowd saw the person on top of the tree, they cried out in surprise. Before Yu Qingbi could finish laughing, he was choked by the two figures on the treetop. As the light dissipated, Nalan Lan and Han Yao Shuang appeared at the same time. It's really two people. Could it be that it wasn't one person comprehending two Taos, but two people comprehending Taos at the same time? A golden light flashed in the sky, and the words treasure, protect, and holy lotus heart appeared in everyone's eyes. The 8 words chased after each other in the air. Han Miao Shuang was speechless when she saw the golden words chasing after each other like children. She glanced at Nalan Lan and naturally knew that this was the person who wanted to kill her junior sister. He didn't expect that the two of them would succeed in comprehending the Tao at the same time. It really made him unhappy. Nalan Lan didn't know Han Miao Shuang's identity. Seeing that she was looking at her with hatred, she thought that she was jealous of her beauty. The two of them glanced at each other before shifting their gazes to the 8 golden characters, calling for them to quickly enter their bodies. The golden words circled around the treetop and then found their own hosts. The words cherish and holy flew into the two people's bodies at the same time. However, the 4 words guard and heart link weren't in a hurry. They circled around the two of them again. Then, the 2 words guard entered Han Miao Shuang's body, while the word lotus entered Nalan Lan's body. Just when everyone thought that the matter was over, a shocking scene occurred. After the word heart circled around Nalan Lan, it didn't enter her body, but flew into Han Miao Shuang's body instead. Everyone was stunned when they saw this scene. The word XN had actually abandoned Nalan Lan. Nalan Lan and Han Miao Shuang were stunned. What was going on? In her body, there were the words cherish, protect, and heart, but in Nalan Lan's body, there was only the 3 words Holy Lotus. What's going on? The onlookers felt that it was inconceivable. This was a word formed from Tao. It was the Tao that Nalan Lan comprehended. How did it run into Han Miao Shuang's body? This was not child's play. If he lost one word, wouldn't that mean that he had lost half of his comprehension of the Tao? Moreover, she was missing the most important heart. How was she going to walk her path in the future? Han Miao Shuang didn't think that something like this would happen. She was just guessing. What they didn't know was that the Tao that Han Miao Shuang comprehended, cherish, and protect had to be done with heart. Compared to the Tao that Nalan Lan comprehended using the lotus body, the word accent was more willing to go to Han Miao Shuang. Who are you? Hurry up and return my heart to me. Nalan Lan shouted at Han Miao Shuang. Han Miao Shuang recovered from her initial shock. Although she didn't know what benefit she would get from doing this, but seeing Nalan Lan so angry and thinking about how she got a word from her, she was overjoyed. What do you mean by returning your heart to you? Han Miao Shuang stood up and pulled her skirt. This heart is bestowed by the heavenly Tao. It's not like I can control it if it chooses me. It's you. If you weren't with me, why would it run into your body? Nalan Lan shouted. You're wrong to say that. What do you mean by with you? I came in before you. If we're talking about being together, it should be you and me. Han Miao Shuang said. Do you know why the word Xin doesn't want you? Why? Someone outside joined in the fun and asked. Of course it's because she doesn't have a heart. Since she doesn't have a heart, the word Xin naturally wouldn't want to go. Han Miao Shuang said with a smile. That makes sense. It seems like that's the case. Otherwise, why would the word Xin dislike her? Han Miao Shuang felt that the voice was familiar. Turning her head, she saw Shi Qianji fanning himself and smiling at her. Flirt. Han Miao Shuang rolled her eyes at him, then stared at Nalan Lan vigilantly. Don't be fooled by her pure and gentle appearance. From Sima Yu's description, this girl was definitely a ruthless character. As expected, without a trace of warning, Nalan Lan condensed her spirit energy and attacked her. The two of them were so close to each other. If she wasn't vigilant, her sneak attack would have succeeded. Nalan Lan was about the same age as Sima Yu. Although her level wasn't as high as hers, with the help of the Lotus physique, she had advanced rather quickly these few years. She had already advanced to the beginner stage of Divine Overlord. However, her strength was still lacking compared to Han Miao Shuang. She didn't succeed in her sneak attack. Instead, Han Miao Shuang grabbed her wrist and flung her to the ground. If she didn't take out a sword at the last moment to support herself on the ground, her body flipped in the air and landed steadily. She would have been embarrassed in front of everyone. Nalan Lan wanted to attack Han Miao Shuang, but was stopped by Qing Yi. He waved his hand, and a force pulled her out of the spirit barrier. Qing Yi's figure appeared on the treetop. He looked at everyone outside and said, Heaven's choice isn't something that can be controlled by humans. No matter what happens in the end, it's Heaven's choice. The matter has been decided. If you continue to argue here, kill. Nalan Lan originally wanted to rush in and find trouble with Han Miao Shuang. However, after Qing Yi said that, she had no choice but to stop. She could kill Han Miao Shuang, but she couldn't ignore Qing Yi's warning. That monarch-ranked expert's corpse was still on the ground. Qing Yi's words weren't for fun. Zhongzheng Han Yu was originally jealous of Nalan Lan. She didn't even have enlightenment, but this little girl did. Wasn't she just relying on her good physique? Now it seemed that she didn't have anything good. She comprehended half of it. She had nothing to show off in the future. Pavilion Master, this tree of life, seems to be protecting that person. She came to Yu Chengbai's side. Although Junior Sister's Tao is incomplete, she still comprehended Tao. It shouldn't matter if it's missing a bit. Master, we can't afford to offend this tree of life. We have plenty of chances in the future. Yu Chengbei looked at Han Miao Shuang with murderous intent. Chapter 1108. Nalan Lan didn't expect Zhongzheng Han Yu to say that, and shouted at Yu Chengbei, Master. She was afraid that Yu Chengbei would really let it go. Yu Chengbei looked at Qing Yi. From the moment he only sent Nalan Lan out, he knew that he was biased towards Han Miao Shuang. He didn't know what method Han Miaoshuang used to make Qing Yi treat her differently, but he knew that with Qing Yi around, they couldn't kill Han Miaoshuang. "Let's go," he said to Nalan Lan. "Master," Nalan Lan didn't think that he would really give up. That was the Tao that she had comprehended. She was unwilling to give up just like that. Han Yu is right. If you want to kill her, there will be plenty of opportunities in the future. There is no need to go against the Tree of Life now. Yu Chengbai said, "But what about her Tao?" "Little junior sister, the heart word has already entered her body. It's a foregone conclusion. Even if you kill her now, it won't become yours." Zhong Zheng Han Yu said, "We can understand your feelings of wanting to kill her, but do you want Pavilion Master and the entire Sage Pavilion to go against the Tree of Life because of you? Even if they worked together, they would not be a match for the Tree of Life." Nalan Lan saw that everyone was looking at her. Even though she was sad in her heart, she couldn't risk everyone's lives. If she really did that, then she would no longer have a foothold in the Sage Pavilion. "Then let's listen to Senior Sister. I can't implicate everyone because of my personal grudge." She bit her lips, looking as if she had been wronged, but had no choice but to think for everyone, which moved everyone present. "Lanner, don't worry. We will definitely avenge you in the future. This person will not leave the immortal land alive." Yu Chenbi patted her head and comforted her. "Thank you, Master. Let's go." Since no one else could enter the Sage Pavilion, there was no point in them staying here any longer. When Nalan Lan left, she turned around and looked at Han Miaoshuang with hatred in her eyes. Han Miaoshuang looked at her and was secretly pleased. She lifted her chin at her and saw that she was even angrier and happier. Seeing Nalan Lan leave unwillingly, Han Miaoshuang cupped her hands toward Qing Yi and said, "Thanks. You're quite proud of yourself." Qing Yi placed his hands behind his back and saw through her thoughts. "Yeah, that woman wanted to kill little junior brother in the past. I'll feel good every time I screw over someone like her." Han Miaoshuang said, "Anyway, I didn't do it on purpose. I wasn't the one who asked it to choose me. If we didn't succeed in comprehending the Tao together, you wouldn't have taken advantage of his Tao." "Qing," he said. Han Miaoshuang's behavior was a classic case of taking advantage and still acting innocent. "This isn't something I can control. This is called fate." Han Miaoshuang said, "Tree of Life, where are my junior brothers?" Whereas little 7, they are all still comprehending their own opportunities. Qing Yi said, "Also, don't call me the Tree of Life." "Then what should I call you?" "Qing Yi." Han Miaoshuang size him up. "It's obviously a golden tree of life. Why is it called Qing Yi?" Qing Yi was speechless. Why did she say the same thing as Sima Yue? "If you don't want to get killed when you go out, then be quiet," Qing Yi said and disappeared from the tree crown. Han Miaoshuang looked at the crowd outside the spirit barrier. She stood on the tree crown as if she was being watched. It made her feel uncomfortable. Since Qing Yi didn't chase her away, then she wouldn't go out first. Otherwise, she might be caught and killed. Anyway, she just comprehended the Tao. It was a good time to consolidate it. To be able to consolidate her Tao heart at the Tree of Life was something that others couldn't even ask for. She went into the tree crown and found a branch that was thicker than her body. She sat down cross-legged and began to consolidate her Tao heart. When the people outside saw that she could cultivate in the Tree of Life, they were envious and jealous. "It would be great if we could go in too." "Forget it. Let's not think about it. I'm planning to leave. Do you want to go with me?" "Where are you going?" "Isn't there an emperor's historical remains on this island? Why don't we go there and take a look?" "That historical remains have been long gone. There won't be any treasures there." "Isn't that so? We just came from the historical remains. That place is about to be emptied." "Really?" "Of course it's true. Are there so few things in the historical remains?" "It's not that there are few, but not everyone can go in." "What do you mean?" "The Emperor's place has all kinds of restrictions. We can only go in if the restrictions are broken. Those powerful people can go in directly. We can only wander around outside." "That's right. But there are only so few places to break the restrictions. They have been searched many times." "Sigh. Then what's the point of staying on this island? Let's leave early. We can still find some things in other places yesterday." "Hey, have you heard? Heartbreak Valley's Valley Lord brought a group of people into a place where the restrictions are not broken. I heard that there are many mechanisms and arrays in addition to restrictions. I don't know if they're alive or dead. Ah, isn't that the new force? I heard that they are quite powerful, especially that Sima Yue. She is simply a demon. Did Sima Yue also go into the historical remains? I don't think so. They said that they didn't see her in the historical remains. If something happened to her, then it's a pity. She is such a demon. If she is fine, then if something happened to the Valley Lord, wouldn't she be the Valley Lord? She is so young, it can't be right. Those people are from Bloodfiend City. They're not so easy to conquer. I think she is the one who conquered those people. Have you forgotten what happened in Bloodfiend City? You mean, it seems so. That lightning struck for so many days. Wasn't she the one who attracted it? That's why I said that Sima Yu is still the one in charge. However, I see that Sima Yu is rather respectful towards the Valley Master. You're talking about whether they are dead or not. Maybe they are all fine. Don't forget, Master Lin is very close to this force. If they died so easily, why would he bother to be on good terms with them? That's true. Qing Yi heard the discussion outside and frowned slightly. When he noticed the change in Sima Yue, he quickly went to Tree D. He didn't expect that Sima Yue's domain would be exposed and let her hear these people's words. Hearing that the life and death of Shimin Feng and Heartbreak Valley's people were unknown, her breath became very unstable. Even her domain started to crack. It looked like it was going to collapse completely. All her previous efforts were going to be wasted. Don't let it collapse. If you miss it once, it won't be easy for you to comprehend another domain, he said worriedly. Chapter 1109. Sima Yue did not know what she was doing. She saw that the flowers were withering, the leaves were turning yellow, and the water in the river was decreasing. The lotus pond was drying up, and the mountains and rivers were collapsing. Other than the mountain she was on, all the other mountains had collapsed and sunk. What's going on? She shouted in panic. This was the world that she had painstakingly constructed. Why did it suddenly collapse? What are you doing? She heard a voice scolding her. She held her head with both hands and squatted on the ground, saying, I didn't do it. I didn't do anything. That's right. It's because you didn't do anything that the world became like this. Sima Yue looked up and saw a faint shadow. It looked like her, but it also didn't look like her. I didn't do anything. Yes, you watched them collapse. You could have stopped it, but you didn't do anything. You watched as the animals died, the flowers withered, the rivers dried up, and the mountains collapsed. Think about it. Isn't this all your fault? It's my fault. Then hurry up and save him. How can I save it? Do what you did to build them up before, and do what you did now. You have to believe in yourself. You can do it. The shadow gradually faded, and Sima Yue's dazed eyes gradually became firm. Following the change in her state of mind, the world no longer collapsed. Water slowly appeared in the riverbed, and the dead flowers and trees slowly came back to life. In the tree hole, Xing Yi saw that the domain had stabilized once again, and his hanging heart also settled down. Just now it was really close. Only the area around her had not collapsed. If even this area had collapsed, then she would have completely failed. Tao begets one, one begets two, two begets three, three begets all things. Sima Yue said these words subconsciously. She repeated them over and over again. Her territory was even more stable than before. Qing Yi looked at the domain that was even stronger than before, and the shock in his heart continued to grow. Is this the so-called rise after destruction? Looks like I was worried for nothing. After the reconstruction, the development of the domain was even faster than before. Soon, it spread to the outside, beyond the barrier, and encompassed a radius of 100 miles. What's going on? Why do I feel like I am being controlled by something? I feel the same way. Did something happen? What a strange feeling. There's nothing left. Was that feeling of being controlled real? It must be true. Is it the tree of life? Dong, dong, dong. 3 Zen chants rang out in the air, each louder than the previous ones. It was not only deafening to the people present, but almost everyone on the island heard it. The people nearby were attracted by the three Zen chants and flew over. Could it be that all three of them comprehended their own Tao at the same time? It can't be. Just now, it was already very surprising that two people succeeded in comprehending the Tao at the same time, let alone three people. What if one person didn't take three Tao? The people at the scene were discussing incessantly. They were really curious about such a thing. Time is endless. Space is endless. Life is endless. These words reverberated between heaven and earth. Those who heard them seemed to feel the vicissitudes of time, the vastness of space, and the greatness of life. Who comprehended this Tao? It's so they could no longer find the words to describe the shock in their hearts. It was as if this was not a Tao comprehended by one person, but the real Tao of heaven. Sima Yue woke up and was brought to the top of the tree by a ray of golden light. The illusion ring was useless in front of heaven and earth. Although she was wearing men's clothes, she did not hide her female characteristics and aura. Her long hair fluttered behind her head. Her beautiful facial features were less masculine and more feminine. Even though she had the same facial features, she gave people a different feeling. The golden light dissipated and Sima Yue was completely exposed in front of everyone in the form of a woman. Isn't this Sima Yue? This can't be her, right? She is a woman. Sima Yue is a man. But they look exactly the same. Twins? Since when did you hear that she has a twin sister? Then, is that really Sima Yue? She's a woman? Isn't this too unbelievable? This Sima Yue is not only an evildoer, she's also a woman? God, do we still want to live? The disguised Zhang Junxian stood beside Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang. He looked at Sima Yue and opened his mouth a few times without saying a word. Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang were not surprised at all and said, "You know she's a woman?" Shi Qiushuang rolled her eyes and said, "When she treated me, she saw me naked. If she's not a woman, do you think she can still live?" You. Zhang Junxian was depressed. Sima Yue was his junior. Shi Qianji and the others always knew, but she did not tell him that she was a woman. When he knew there were ruins here, he wanted to come and take a look. He did not expect to meet Shi Qiushuang and the others before crossing the sea. They were all heading towards the same place. Naturally, he could not refuse and follow them, but he did not expect to see this. I'm surprised every time I see it. Shi Qianji sighed. Shi Qiushuang saw the surprise in Shi Qianji's eyes. She did not know why, but she felt uncomfortable. 12 heavenly Tao. Everyone was shocked by the 12 golden words that appeared in the air. Shen Xiuhe's Tao was 8 words. Han Miaoshuang and Nalanlan's Tao were 4 words. But Sima Yue's Tao was 12 words. And from the content, Sima Yue's Tao was obviously much more powerful. Time is endless. Space is endless. Life is endless. The 12 words floated in the air and flew around the tree of life. Then, they circled around Sima Yue twice before entering her body. Sima Yue felt her body become much more comfortable the moment those 12 words entered her body. Furthermore, those 12 words circled around her body before finally attaching themselves to her meridians and imprinting themselves on her bones. Even her dantian was imprinted on it. Time is endless. Space is endless. Life is endless. This was her Tao. It was a kind of enlightenment towards time, space, and life in the world. Wow, junior sister, you're amazing. Han Miaoshuang saw that she had finished her enlightenment and flew out from the tree, crowned to her side. Hee, I can openly call you junior sister in the future. Your female appearance is so beautiful. I will never get tired of looking at it. Sima Yue glanced at her long hair that was scattered in front of her chest. She knew that her female identity was exposed in front of everyone. There may be a lot of trouble in the future. Although she said that, she did not care about those troubles at all. Why are you alone? Senior brother and little 7 are not out yet? Nope. From what Qing Yi said, they should be out soon. Han Miaoshuang said, Little 7 is at the final stage of evolution. Junior brother is also in the midst of enlightenment. Chapter 11:10. Sima Yue looked at the crowd outside and found the people who were talking about the relics. When she was comprehending the Tao, her domain just happened to spread to the top. When she heard these people talking about Feng, and Heartbreak Valley, she was worried and almost caused her domain to collapse. Her Tao and domain were linked together. If her domain collapsed, her Tao would also end. "Wait here," she said to Han Miao Shuang, then flew towards the spirit barrier and came in front of those people. "You said before that the people from Heartbreak Valley entered the remains?" Those people were stunned when they saw Sima Yue flying over. They only regained their senses when they heard her question. Yes. They entered a restriction. I wonder if they have come out yet." "When did this happen?" Sima Yue frowned. "How did they enter the restrictive spell?" "Several months," the man replied. "Can you tell me where the restriction is?" "Sure. However, that restriction seems to be very powerful. Although your background is relatively strong, that place is not a place where background matters." That person hesitated for a moment before speaking. Sima Yue was stunned for a moment before she reacted. He was saying that she was not strong enough and should not take the risk. What a tactful way to put it. However, the other party was just reminding her out of goodwill and did not mean to belittle her. "Thank you. I'll be careful." She smiled at him, then turned and flew back. Her smile made that person's nose bleed. Yue, listen too." Shi Qianji shouted at Sima Yue's back. Sima Yue flew to the top of the tree and turned around to see Shi Qianji and Shi Shuang standing outside. "Qing Yi, can I?" she asked. She didn't know the relationship between Qing Yi and Little Seven. She just felt that Qing Yi should be a good person since he helped her understand her domain and her own Tao. If she knew how Qing Yi treated the people outside in the past year, she probably wouldn't think that way. Han Miao Shuang had already woken up for a period of time and understood Qing Yi's character a little. Although he was a tree of life, he didn't have a good impression of people, let alone being close to them. Therefore, she did not think that he would agree to Sima Yue's request. Qing Yi didn't appear and didn't answer. Just when Han Miao Shuang thought he wouldn't agree, 3 branches flew out instantly. When everyone reacted, Shi Qianji, Shi Shuang, and Jiang Junxian were already under the Tree of Life. The 3 of them didn't expect that they would change positions in the blink of an eye. If that branch had been aimed at them, they wouldn't have been able to resist at all. They probably wouldn't even know how they died. Thinking of this, the 3 of them felt a lingering fear. Fortunately, this was not real. The other party did not attack them and only brought them in. Qing Yi's speed, once again, shocked everyone present. At the same time, it made them more cautious. With such speed and power, they didn't dare to act rashly. At the same time, they were envious of Shi Qianji and Shi Shuang. Because they knew Sima Yue, they went in again. Just like the people from Kong Valley who knew her, they could board Heartbreak Valley's ship and reach this island earlier. At this time, everyone just remembered a fact. Speaking of which, they didn't see Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang go in, but they were inside. What did this mean? They had discovered the Tree of Life long ago and were enlightened inside. Looking at Sima Yue, they were really envious. No wonder Master Yin Lin was so close to her. She was really someone with great luck. Sima Yue didn't expect Qing Yi to bring an unfamiliar man in. Seeing him looking at her, her heart skipped a beat. Before she could react, Han Miao Shuang jumped up and grabbed Jiang Junxian's clothes and punched him in the face. "Jiang Junxian, you still dare to appear in front of me. I said, I'll beat you up every time I see you." Jiang Junxian didn't fight back. He let her punch him again and again. This was the first time they were in close contact after they separated in the ancient tomb. When they were in Cloud Sea City, they didn't really have any contact. Fortunately, Han Miao Shuang didn't use spirit power. She only used her fists to hit him. In the end, her hand still hurt. Sima Yue went forward and pulled Han Miao Shuang. Maybe because she didn't live with Jiang Junxian for a long time, she didn't feel as much pain as Han Miao Shuang and Su Xiao Xiao. It was easier for her to forgive him. Forgive? So she had forgiven him long ago. All right, senior sister. If you continue, your hand bones will break. Han Miaoshuang's hand was pulled by Sima Yue. She just looked at Jiang Junxian's unfamiliar face. Why? You don't dare to face us with your real face. She stared straight at her. She didn't know why, but tears fell instantly. Sima Yue saw Han Miaoshuang's tears. She saw the way she looked at Jiang Junxian. It was a painful love. She let go of her hand. It turned out that she didn't pay enough attention to them. She didn't realize that Han Miaoshuang actually... She looked at Jiang Junxian again. He looked at Han Miaoshuang with emotions. Maybe the two of them had always lived together, so they didn't really reveal their relationship. But after going through these things, they understood each other's hearts. Jiang Junxian had never seen Han Miaoshuang cry. He took off the mask on his face uncomfortably and said, I didn't wear this mask to avoid you. Seeing his face, Han Miaoshuang's tears fell even harder. Jiang Junxian went forward helplessly and reached out to wipe her tears. He frowned and said, Why did you cry so much after not seeing you for a few years? The more Jiang Junxian said this, the more Han Miaoshuang felt wronged and sad. Her tears fell even harder. The two of them didn't realize that the people around them were whispering about them. Cough, cough. This senior brother, senior sister, you guys go inside and settle old scores. Sima Yue coughed dryly and pushed the two of them into the canopy. With Qing Yi around, these people's divine senses couldn't enter. The two of them could cry in comfort however they wanted. Besides, without these third wheels in the way, the two of them could deal with their feelings more clearly. Cough, cough. I've been with him for so long. I never knew that he liked Han Miaoshuang. Shi Qianji said, I didn't expect senior sister to also. When we lived in Parting Garden, the two of them didn't flirt like this. Sima Yue said, Didn't you say that senior brother wasn't with you? Why are you together again? We met before we came to the island, because we had to come to a place, and we were worried that something would happen to him alone, so we let him come with us. Shi Qiushuang said, Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 11:11. Sima Yue sighed in her heart. It was hard to say when it came to relationships. Usually, she didn't feel anything, but after going around in circles, it turned out that she still had that person in her heart. Thinking of this, she looked at Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang, wondering what would happen between the two of them. Shi Qiushuang had someone else in her heart, but she could tell that Shi Qianji liked Qiushuang. He just didn't know what would happen to them later on. She frowned when she thought of Wu Lingyu, who was still unconscious. He didn't know how long he had been comprehending it, but it definitely wasn't short time. Counting the time he spent in the Spirit Pagoda, he didn't know how long he had slept. He still hadn't woken up after such a long time. She was a little worried about his situation. Qing Yi, she called out. An azure-robed figure appeared. Looking at Shi Qianji and Shi Qiushuang, he said, Since you've come in, then go and try. With a wave of his hand, Shi Qianji and his companion were wrapped in golden light and disappeared. At the same time, Jiang Junxian, who was about to kiss Han Miaoshuang in the treetop, also disappeared. Han Miaoshuang was waiting for her first kiss with her eyes closed, but why did this person suddenly disappear? She opened her eyes and saw the empty branches. She couldn't react. However, she couldn't help but blush when she recalled what had just happened. Fortunately, he was gone. Otherwise, Sima Yue flew into the treetop and said, Qing Yi, do you know why my senior brother hasn't woken up yet? How much time had passed? How long have I been in the tree hole? From the time you guys came here, it's been more than a year. Qing Yi said, As for the time you stayed in the tree hole, it's been a few decades. Decades? Sima Yue cried out. Counting the time in the Spirit Pagoda, wouldn't Wu Lingyu have slept for a few hundred years? Why are you so surprised? Qing Yi said, The time in the tree hole is controlled by me. It has nothing to do with the outside world. It won't affect your body. You're still in your 30s. That's not what I'm worried about. Sima Yue said, you know my secret. Are you worried about the people in the space? Qingyi knew what she was thinking. Its time is the same as the time outside. It has nothing to do with the time I created. Sima Yue heaved a sigh of relief, but she was still worried. More than a year outside means more than 10 years inside. Senior Marshal Brother slept for more than 10 years without waking up. As long as I'm here, he won't wake up even if he sleeps for 100 years. Why? Although he has returned to his original position, he has been wandering for so many years and his soul is injured. Qing, he said, what does this have to do with you? Sima Yue was confused. Have you forgotten what I am? What was he? The tree of life. The fact that I can become a tree of life naturally means that I have life force. My aura is both a great supplement and a suppressive force to him. Qing, he continued. Sima Yue understood. Will it affect him if he continues to sleep like this? Does helping him repair his soul count? Qing said, actually, he's quite lucky. If it were you, I'm afraid you'd never wake up. Why? Han Miao Shuang asked. Although she didn't understand what they meant when they said those things about Wu Lingyu, when it concerned Sima Yue, she immediately became nervous. Sima Yue knew the reason. Is it because of the Ghost Clan in my body? Yes. Qing, he said. Ghost Clan? What does this have to do with you? The Ghost Clan mainly absorbs dark spiritual energy and death energy, and these are restrained by life force. Sima Yue explained. If I fall into a coma, I definitely won't be able to resist his life force. There's no chance of winning. Fortunately, your body hasn't been completely controlled by the Ghost Clan's aura. Han Miao Shuang said. Yeah, or else I wouldn't be able to comprehend this realm and Tao. Sima Yue was also glad. Realm? What's that? You didn't comprehend it. I only comprehended my Tao, but nothing else. Han Miao Shuang said. What's a realm? Realm. How should I put it? It's equivalent to my own time and space, a world. Sima Yue said. In this world, I'm the master. It's a little similar to the space sealed by an array master, but one uses the current space, while the realm is my own space that I comprehend. Isn't that even more awesome? Han Miao Shuang said excitedly. An array master space seal is already very powerful, but yours sounds even more powerful than that. I'm considered lucky. I happened to comprehend it at Qing Yi's place and borrowed his power. Sima Yue said. Realm can only be comprehended by spirit masters who are paragon rank and above. At your age and power, it has never appeared before. Qing, he said. This was also the reason why he was so surprised when he first saw her comprehend a realm. You've always been in the immortal land. How do you know if other places have it? Han Miao Shuang didn't believe it. Although I didn't go out, people kept coming in. Qing, he said. From their memories, I can know a lot of things that happen outside. Han Miao Shuang stared at him with wide eyes. He was so awesome. If someone could comprehend a realm at her age, it would have spread across the entire continent. It wouldn't be unknown. Those who came in here would definitely know, so I would naturally know too. Qing, he said. How would you know? You're not a roundworm in their stomach. Unless. Han Miao Shuang reacted. You can see other people's memories? Qing, he silently agreed. Han Miao Shuang subconsciously wanted to take a step back, but there was no path behind her. She almost fell down. It was a good thing that Sima Yue pulled her back. She stood still and looked at Qing Yi. You're so scary. No one can keep secrets from you anymore. Not really. Qing, he said. There's one person. I can't see his memories. Oh, Xian Xiuhe. That person's brain is protected by something, not letting the outside world know. Thinking of Xian Xiuhe, he didn't know why, but he felt that something would happen to him in the future. Xian Xiuhe? He came too. Sima Yue asked. A few months ago, he came and left. He comprehended Tao very quickly. He's also a genius. Is his body better? Sima Yue asked. With the support of Tao, he won't be too far off. Qing, he said. Seems like there are quite a lot of people who comprehended Tao. Han Miao Shuang said. But it's also true. Even someone like Nailin Lan comprehended it. It's not strange for others to do it. Nalan Lan? She comprehended Dao too? Sima Yuen narrowed her eyes. Not only did she come, Zhong Zhenghan you came too. Qing, he said, but your senior sister already helped you get some interest. Chapter 11-12. Sima Yue raised her eyebrows. Interest? Speaking of this, Han Miao Shuang was in a good mood and said, Little junior sister, you don't know. That Nalan Lan actually succeeded in enlightenment at the same time as me. Guess what happened next? Sima Yue felt much better when she saw how happy she was. She shook her head. I can't guess. I guess you won't be able to guess it either. Han Miao Shuang laughed mischievously. Our Dao appeared at the same time. Mine was the 4 words cherish and protect. Hers was the 4 words holy lotus heart. In the end, my words entered my body, but her heart didn't want her and ran into my body. Ran into your body? Wouldn't you be stealing her Dao then? Sima Yue said in surprise. What do you mean I stole her Dao? That heart character ran into my body on its own. I didn't do anything. Han Miao Shuang said. Then wouldn't her Dao be incomplete? Sima Yue was in a good mood. That's right. It's probably because that heart saw that she was so evil and pretended to be pure outside, so it didn't like her and came to me. Han Miao Shuang giggled and said, Who didn't see it? At that time, Nalan Lan and the people from the Sage Pavilion were so angry, but they could only stare. With their temper, they won't let you go. Qing, he helped me. With him protecting me, those people wouldn't dare to do anything here. I can't do anything. Han Miao Shuang said proudly. They couldn't enter the enchantment and couldn't get close to her. They couldn't take revenge even if they wanted to. Then it's best that you don't act alone in the future. The people from the Sage Pavilion might make a move on you at any time. Sima Yue warned. If it were any other matter, there might be a possibility of resolving it. However, this matter was related to the heavenly Dao. Even if it were her, she could not pretend that nothing had happened, especially when Nalan Lan continued to comprehend the heavenly Dao. Every time she thought about how her heavenly Dao was incomplete, Han Miao Shuang stole the most important word, heart. She would probably vomit blood frequently. We have a holy son of the Sage Pavilion by our side. What am I afraid of? Han Miao Shuang said, Even without your senior brother, I wouldn't be afraid. Isn't it just the Sage Pavilion? It's not like they're invincible. Yes, I know. Senior sister, you have senior brother protecting you now. With senior brother around, you don't have to be afraid of anything. Sima Yue joked. Great, junior sister, you making fun of me. Watch how I'm going to shut your mouth today. Han Miao Shuang took out a spirit fruit and stuffed it into Sima Yue's mouth. Sima Yue lightly stomped her feet and flew from one branch to another, dodging her attack. What's wrong? Are you angry? Sima Yue said with a smile. I haven't asked you what's going on between you and senior brother. What do you mean what happened? There's nothing between him and me. Han Miao Shuang chased after her. What do you mean nothing? Why are you looking at my senior brother and crying so sadly? TSK, look at my senior brother's eyes. He's so heartbroken. Stop right there. Sima Yue flew to another branch, and Han Miao Shuang chased after her. I used to think that senior brother was lazy and didn't care about anything. He only knew how to sleep all day. I didn't expect him to be such a gentle person. TSK, I can't help but feel heartbroken. Go away. You're the one feeling heartbroken for your senior brother. I also feel heartbroken for my senior brother. Sigh. If he knew that you're not admitting it, I wonder if it would affect him from passing the test. Why didn't I realize that you're so talkative? You might as well keep wearing men's clothes. You're so gossipy when you're a girl. Stop right there. If you want me to stop, you'll have to chase after me first. Wait till I catch up with you. See how I'll deal with you. You'll have to catch up with me first. Qing Yi returned to the tree trunk and didn't look at the two of them who were like lunatics. When the people outside heard that they were chasing each other on the Tree of Life, they were envious. Why did the Tree of Life treat them differently? After chasing for a while, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang finally stopped. Each of them sat on a branch and leaned against the tree trunk. The first time I saw him, I saw the pain hidden in his eyes and the anger towards life. At that time, I thought that this guy was so happy, but why did he still look so smelly? Until I knew his identity, I then knew why. Han Miao Shuang muttered. You were attracted by his gaze? Sima Yue laid on the branch. Her long hair fell on both sides like a waterfall. I guess so. Han Miao Shuang said. That guy only knows how to sleep. He doesn't care about anyone, but he's obsessed with alchemy. Why didn't I notice it at all after living in the parting garden for so long? Sima Yue said, Is it because you guys hit it too well, or is my reaction too slow? That's because I hit it very carefully. Han Miao Shuang said, You know, I was abandoned by the Han clan. At that time, I thought he was the Jiang clan's young master. Even if we're together now, he would have to return to the Jiang clan in the future. So I didn't think that I would be with him. But I didn't expect him to be abandoned too. Then I realized that you guys are quite compatible. Sima Yue smiled as she continued. But we didn't meet after that. Han Miao Shuang said, When we met this time, I suddenly felt wronged and couldn't control myself. I thought he would laugh at me. After all, he didn't show anything special before. I'm quite surprised too. I didn't expect senior brother to have such a side. It's true that even tempered steel can become soft. Sima Yue said. I don't know when they'll come out. Han Miao Shuang said. Sima Yue took out Shiman phone and the other's life jade. They were all fine, which meant that nothing happened to them in the restriction, so she wasn't in a hurry to go over. Oh right, little junior sister. Did you realize that Qing Yi treats us differently from the others? Han Miao Shuang imitated her and laid down. She turned sideways and said to Sima Yue, Really? Sima Yue didn't think so. You just came out, so you don't know. Han Miao Shuang said. She told Sima Yue about the things she saw during this period of time. Compared to them, she realized that it was indeed different. Hearing you say it, it's indeed different. Sima Yue said. Why do you think it's like that? You can't be saying that we're charming, right? Han Miao Shuang said half-jokingly. Sima Yue laughed and said, If it's really about charm, then it's Little Seven's charm. You're saying that he treats us so well because of Little Seven. Chapter 11:13. Read 3:36. Little Seven? Yeah. Sima Yue said, Think about how Little Seven reacted when she saw Qing Yi. That means that she and Qing Yi know each other. Han Miao Shuang thought about it for a moment. Little Seven's reaction was really strange. But Qing Yi has been here for a few decades, and Little Seven has never been to the immortal realm before. How do they know each other? She couldn't figure it out. Sima Yue wasn't sure either. Maybe they knew each other before? We'll ask Little Seven when she comes out. Before coming in, Little Seven said that she might evolve in here. I didn't expect her to really evolve. Little junior sister, tell me, Little Seven is already so powerful. If she evolves again, what level will she reach? Han Miao Shuang said. Seeing that Sima Yue wasn't listening to her, she shouted, Little junior sister? Junior sister? I'm here, senior sister. What's wrong? Sima Yue asked. I'm talking to you. What are you thinking about? Why are you so engrossed? Nothing. Sima Yue smiled. She recalled what Qing Yi had said to her before. He said that other than helping with cultivation, Little Seven could also help people advance, especially those at the Imperial Emperor level. She didn't notice it at that time, but now that she thought about it, Qing Yi's voice was a little unsteady when he said that, which meant that his emotions were a little unstable at that time. Why did his emotions become unstable when he talked about this? Was it because he had seen it before? Or had Little Seven experienced something like this before? Han Miao Shuang saw that Sima Yue was distracted again after a few sentences. She knew that she must be thinking about something, so she didn't say anything to disturb her. There were fewer and fewer people outside. Many of them had figured out Qing Yi's temper. They knew that it was hopeless and there was no point in staying. After a few more days, Su Xiaoxiao also succeeded in comprehending the Tao. His Tao was very simple, perseverance. Although it was only 2 words, it was already very good for Su Xiaoxiao, who was not very talented. Xiaoxiao is out too. Now we're just waiting for little Seven and Jiang Junxian. Han Miao Shuang was sincerely happy for Su Xiao Xiao. Senior brother is here too? Su Xiao Xiao asked. They're here. Not only did he come, he even made up with senior sister. Sima Yue said, Little junior sister, your mouth is broken again. Han Miao Shuang pretended to be angry. Su Xiao Xiao was big, but she wasn't stupid. He immediately understood what was going on when they talked back and forth. Senior brother and senior sister are together? He looked at Sima Yue and asked. Yue nodded with a smile. I really didn't expect that, but it's a good thing. Otherwise, you'll feel so bad every time you think of him, Su Xiao said. Who would have thought that he would feel uncomfortable? Han Miao Shuang refused to admit it. You think I don't know? It's normal that little junior sister doesn't know since she's not with us. We've always lived together. I know every time you cry, Su Xiao said. Since you knew, why didn't you come to comfort me? Han Miao Shuang reached out and pinched Su Xiao Zhao's hand. I'm not your senior brother. What's the point of comforting you? Su Xiao said. All right, it really wouldn't be of much use. But it was better than nothing, especially since she felt that she hid it well. She didn't expect Su Xiao Xiao to know from the beginning. Qingyi came out because Su Xiao Xiao succeeded in enlightenment. He suddenly felt the change in little Seven. His expression changed slightly, and he went back in. Sima Yue happened to be standing not far from him. She frowned when she saw him in a hurry. Did something happen to little Seven? In the tree hole, little Seven was moaning in pain. The white light that wrapped around her was sometimes strong and sometimes weak. Little Seven? Qingyi condensed his spiritual energy and injected it into the white light to replenish the energy she needed. Qingyi. A weak voice was heard. It showed how uncomfortable little Seven was. Little Seven, don't be afraid. You'll be fine. Qingyi encouraged her while injecting his spiritual energy. You. Little Seven said twice and went silent again. Qingyi was stunned. Then, he disappeared from the spot. He came to the branches and grabbed Sima Yue's hand and brought her into the tree hole. Qingyi, what are you doing? Sima Yue's hand hurt because of him. Seeing little Seven who was wrapped in white light, she ignored the pain and ran over. What's wrong with little Seven? Why is her aura so unstable? She's evolving? Originally, there was no problem. However, she has an old illness in her body. It suddenly consumed a lot of her energy. Now, she doesn't have enough energy to evolve. Qing, he said. He didn't think that little Seven's body would have an old illness. He also didn't think that it would affect her evolution. He kept injecting his spiritual energy into her, but it didn't have much effect on little Seven. Sima Yue took out all the pills and precious herbs from the spirit pagoda and injected them into little Seven's body. However, it still wasn't enough. Damn it, little Seven's spiritual energy is draining too fast. We can't replenish it at all, she said anxiously. It's all my fault. I didn't check her body before letting her in. Qingyi blamed himself. If he didn't let little Seven evolve, this wouldn't have happened. Qingyi, it's not your fault. Little Seven's voice rang out again. Even if she didn't evolve this time, the next time she evolved, something like this would still happen. What should we do? Sima Yue realized that little Seven's spiritual energy was still draining and was extremely anxious. Power. She suddenly thought of the Thunder Spirit liquid that she obtained last time. Previously, she said that she would use it to nourish their bodies. However, she didn't have the chance to do so. Would it work if he used that? Now, she couldn't care less about whether it would be useful or not. She took out all the Thunder Spirit liquid and poured bottle after bottle onto little Seven's body. The Thunder Spirit liquid slowly merged into little Seven's body. It gave her a lot of spiritual energy. This made Qingyi, who was at the side, shocked. Thunder Spirit liquid? Little Seven's spiritual energy was replenished a little. However, it wasn't enough for her to evolve. Furthermore, the spiritual energy was still draining quickly. Qingyi saw that the Thunder Spirit liquid was useful and said, "The Thunder Spirit liquid is useful. Do you have any more?" "No more. I took out all that I had." Sima Yue said, "No more." What should we do? If they didn't stop the spiritual energy from draining, Little Seven might not even be able to keep her life, let alone evolve. Little Seven, I didn't think that we would only be reunited for such a short time. I even said that I would protect you in the future. You have to protect yourself in the future. After Qing Yi finished speaking, he retracted his hand and turned himself into a ball of golden essence. He slowly floated towards Little Seven. Little Seven knew what Qing Yi wanted to do. She shouted, "Qing Yi, don't do anything stupid. I won't accept you. You want to exchange a life for a life. I won't agree." Little Seven didn't accept it. Qing Yi's spiritual energy couldn't enter the white light. Little Seven, there's no more time. I can't watch you die in front of me again. Qing Yi shouted. Sima Yoyue's heart subconsciously shrank. Die again? Little Seven had died once before? Qing Yi, I won't agree. I have other ways. Little Seven's voice was weak, but her attitude was firm. This book came from Book and Book #web. Chapter 11-14. Read 336. Qing Yi stopped and looked at Little Seven, waiting for her to tell him her plan. If that didn't work, he would still use his own method. He had already lived for hundreds of thousands of years, so he no longer had any attachment to life. If he could exchange it for Little Seven's life, he was willing to do it. Little Seven, do you have any ideas? Contract. Little Seven's voice was soft, but it made Sima Yue tremble. She wanted him to make a contract with her. No, there must be another way. Sima Yue said, Yu, I know that even if I form a contract with you, you won't treat me as a contracted beast. Little Seven said, look at Little Roar, Little Rock, Hua, and Little Meng. You treat them like your own family. You did not treat them as your servants, your accessories. You treated each of them well. I believe that even if I form a contract with you, it won't do me any harm. On the contrary, because of my identity, I will definitely bring you trouble. I won't let Qing Yi exchange her life for his. Other than this, there's no other way. Yu, if you're worried that I'll bring you trouble, then don't sign the contract. I won't say anything, Sima Yoyue's tears rolled down her cheeks. She looked at Little Seven and shook her head continuously. She didn't know if she wanted Little Seven to stop talking or if she didn't want to form a contract with her. Yu, I have never regretted meeting you. Little Seven's voice was intermittent. The energy from the Thunder Spirit liquid was almost depleted. Qing Yi, I'm sorry. I just gave you hope, but I have to disappoint you again. Is there a need for you to watch me leave? The white light gradually dissipated, and they could see Little Seven's appearance clearly. She couldn't do it anymore. Sima Yue did not expect Little Seven to become like this when she hesitated for a moment. No, Xiaoqi, I won't let you die. She bit her finger and drew a pentagram on Little Seven's body. She quickly chanted, time is endless, space is endless, life is endless. Time is endless, space is endless, and life is endless. Heavenly Tao, lend me your strength. 12 golden words flew out of her body and circled around her and Little Seven. Then they entered Little Seven's body and flew out again, returning to Sima Yoyue's body. Dong! The heartbeat sounded again. It was so weak, but it was caught by Qing Yi and Sima Yue. Sima Yue was overjoyed. She placed her hand on Little Seven's root and said, with my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me? Silence. Sima Yue panicked and repeated herself. With my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me? There was still silence. Seven didn't say anything after the time limit of the contract passed. Sima Yue was so anxious that tears fell from her eyes. Every contract had 3 chances, and they had already wasted 2 chances. If the last time was the same, she and Little Seven wouldn't be able to form a contract today. With my blood, I will merge with your body. From now on, we will be connected by blood and live and die together. The God of heaven above, overlooking all living things, established the contract, never leaving. Little Seven, are you willing to form a contract with me? After asking for the last time, Little Seven was still silent. This made Sima Yue almost break down. I am willing. At the last moment, Little Seven's weak voice sounded. The light of the contract enveloped both of them. Sima Yue felt that there was an additional layer of contract between her and Little Seven. Then, she felt an endless amount of energy entering her body. Sima Yue sat on the ground, her tears still flowing out. But this time, the tears were tears of joy. Qing Yi turned into his human form and looked at Sima Yue, who was crying in the ruins. He thought that this was probably the first time in history that someone cried like this during contract. Before Sima Yue could wipe her tears, she felt a surge of energy entering her body. The contract gave back her energy. If she didn't guide the energy properly, she would be the one in trouble. She quickly sat cross-legged and guided the energy so that it wouldn't crash around in her body. Very quickly, the light of advancement enveloped her. One advanced, and the other evolved. Luckily, both of them were fine. He looked at Sima Yue's calm face and thought about what happened just now. Initially, she didn't want to form a contract with Little Seven. Just like what she said before, she wouldn't make use of Little Seven. After forming a contract, Little Seven would be at her mercy. She rejected Little Seven's request, but she didn't expect Little Seven to suddenly lose all signs of life. At this moment, she was regretful and sad, but she didn't panic. This was the first time she used the power of Tao to save someone. She injected the energy of life into Little Seven's body, allowing her to come back to life. Her decisiveness and intelligence weren't something that ordinary people could compare to. Now, after experiencing great sadness and joy, she was able to quickly enter a state of cultivation and absorb the energy brought to her by the contract. This left a good impression on him. Little Seven's evolution this time was very good. The contract healed her old illness and at the same time gave her the energy she needed for the future. It could be said that her evolution this time was no longer a problem. Sima Yue had advanced by a large level, allowing her to jump from a mid-level god emperor to a mid-level god venerable. Moreover, she hadn't fully absorbed the energy of the contract. The spirit pagoda helped her to store a portion of the energy, so she didn't advance too quickly. Qing Yi naturally saw her suppression. When he saw her open her eyes, he wanted to say something but was immediately interrupted. Quickly bring me out, the further the better. Sima Yue stood up and grabbed his hand. Qing Yi didn't know why she made such a request, but once he sensed the situation outside, his face instantly darkened. If you asked him what he was most afraid of, one would be the sovereign flame, and the other would be the lightning tribulation. If it was a normal lightning tribulation, it would be fine. But that wasn't the case for the black tribulation clouds. This fellow's advancement actually attracted lightning tribulation. Han Miao Shuang, Su Xiao Xiao, and the others were outside. When they saw the sky suddenly turn dark, they shouted, "Little Junior's sister advanced?" Those outside didn't know the situation. When they saw the tribulation clouds, they thought that someone had violated the heavenly Tao and was about to be punished. Han Miao Shuang and the others only saw a blur in front of their eyes. A piece of paper wrapped around Sima Yue and flew far away. The speed almost caused sparks to appear on her clothes. Sima Yue moved, and the tribulation clouds moved with her. It chased Sima Yue into the forest on the other side of the mountain. Some people had never seen such a huge lightning tribulation. They ran over to take a look. When they saw that Sima Yue was undergoing the tribulation, especially when they saw that Sima Yue didn't avoid the tribulation clouds, but faced it head-on, their jaws almost dropped to the ground. This book came from the book in book #web. Chapter 11:15. Read 336. I heard that Sima Yue would be struck by lightning every time she advances, someone said. That seems to be the case. Someone from the academy once said that. She'll be struck every time she advances. Doesn't that mean she's been struck many times already? I remember that time in the Dark Forest. We lost a lot of Monarch-level experts. Who asked those people to force her? Isn't this kicking an iron plate? That's right. Do you think Sima Yue is a pushover? Look at the aura of this lightning tribulation. Which one of you can withstand it? Just this point alone is enough to look down on all living things. Goddess. My goddess. Go away. She's my goddess. It's clearly mine. Go away. She's my goddess. Oomph. Do you dare to walk up to her and call her your goddess? Do you dare? I don't dare. Do you? I dare in my dreams. Tisk, Sima Yue, who was in the middle of her tribulation, did not know that she had become a goddess. She only knew that the power of faith in her body had increased by a little. F***CK, who's trying to kill me? She couldn't help but complain. Now that she had to deal with this lightning tribulation, it was enough for her to drink a pot of water. If the power of faith was not content, she would probably be struck down by lightning. Pah! Another bolt of lightning struck her body, causing her to grimace in pain. At this moment, she missed Cloud's spirit. Although that little guy could also hack, he would show mercy. He wondered if this tribulation cloud had anything to do with the Cloud spirit. If it recognized it, could it give him a discount? The onlookers trembled when they saw the thick lightning bolt strike her body. If the lightning struck them, they probably wouldn't be able to withstand it even once. On the other hand, Sima Yue seemed fine, except for her pained expression. Only Sima Yue knew that if it wasn't for the purple lightning in her dantian, she would have died a long time ago. The lightning tribulation above the tribulation cloud was also depressed. Such a powerful lightning bolt was actually unable to strike a small human to death. If word got out, it would be too shameful. Therefore, it began to strike several lightning bolts at the same time, but it failed to kill Sima Yue no matter how many lightning bolts it released. Cough, cough! Sima Yue was lying on the ground. Her long hair was naturally curled. If she wanted to have a curly hairstyle in the future, she would not need to specially do her hair. Leveling up too many times is really inhumane. She tried her best to stand up, rejoicing that this set of clothes was specially made for her by Fatty Chu to protect her from lightning. Otherwise, she would be completely exposed today. Cough, cough. She coughed twice and spat out a puff of black smoke. She didn't need to look to know what she looked like. Hey, you want to die? If you don't come out from there, I will be struck to death. She said to the little fellow that was swimming happily in her dantian. The purple lightning had just eaten a lot of lightning bolts and was in a good mood. Its attitude towards Sima Yue was also much better. Seeing that she was indeed in a miserable state, it slowly climbed up from the dantian and climbed up to sit on top of her head. What is that thing? The people outside looked at the purple lightning and exclaimed. I don't know. Is it her contracted beast? It doesn't look like a spirit beast. Pah! Another lightning tribulation struck. This time, Sima Yue did not move. She just stood at the same spot and watched as the lightning bolts were all swallowed by Little Purple. SSS, did you guys see that? That lightning was eaten by that thing on top of her head? Did I see wrongly? No, I saw it too. What exactly is that thing? It actually ate the lightning tribulation. I don't know, but one look and I can tell that it's very powerful. The thing seems to have come out from her body, right? No wonder she's not afraid of the lightning tribulation at all and dares to resist it. When the lightning tribulation saw the purple lightning below, its body trembled and it almost fell from the cloud. Purple lightning tribulation? How could there be purple lightning in this person's body? No wonder no matter how many lightning bolts it released, it could not kill her. It was simply feeding the purple lightning tribulation. The purple lightning tribulation sat on top of Sima Yue's head. It had eaten all the lightning bolts that struck down just now. It was just a shapeless thing, but the lightning tribulation seemed to see it licking its lips and looking at it with shining eyes, as if waiting for it to continue feeding it lightning bolts. The lightning tribulation was depressed. No matter how many lightning bolts it struck, it was meaningless. The harder it struck, the happier the purple lightning tribulation was. Therefore, it just dealt with the remaining lightning bolts hastily and left with its tribulation cloud. Sigh, after so many years, it finally found a person that it could strike, but in the end, she was still like this. It felt that it was injured, a very, very serious internal injury. Sima Yue looked at the weak look behind the tribulation cloud and could almost imagine the shadow in its heart. She stretched out her hand to grab the purple lightning tribulation, but the little fellow went back in her body and did not let her grab it. Sima Yue pursed her lips. This fellow was really arrogant. It just did not want her to grab it. The surrounding trees were all implicated by her. The lightning tribulation had created a 1-kilometer wide vacuum. She felt a little apologetic. These were already ordinary trees. Now, they were struck by lightning because of her. Sima Yue, you're so awesome. Goddess, you're my goddess. Yue, can I join you? Sima Yue was surrounded by those people. Every one of them was expressing their admiration for her, which increased the power of faith in her body. She groaned in her heart. She really did not need these people's faith. She tried her best to squeeze past them, wanting to return to Qingyi. As long as she was inside the enchantment, these people would not be able to surround her. She nodded her head and dealt with these people as she walked towards the mountain. However, when she crossed the mountain and stood at the top of the mountain, she was stunned by the scene in front of her. Not only her, but the others were stunned too. A group of petrified people stood on the mountain ridge, forming a unique scenery. How did this happen? When did this happen? It's gone? It's gone just like that? He knows how to run away. Are we sure that he only went to see Sima Yue undergo the lightning tribulation? He didn't do anything else? How did he disappear just after turning around? Sima Yue looked at the boundless grassland and pursed her lips. She only went to undergo the lightning tribulation. Why did Qingyi and her seniors disappear when she returned? Did they run away? Even if they ran away, they should have brought her along. A bunch of heartless people, she cursed in her heart. However, if they really waited for her to return before running away, they probably would not have been able to leave. This book came from the website. Chapter 11:16. By the time those people reacted and wanted to talk to Sima Yue, they realized that she had left too. In order to not let them stop her, she used teleportation. In a few flashes, she was already far away from them. Teleport. This was something that only array masters or monarch-level experts could do. I didn't expect her to know it too. Someone shouted, "What's so surprising about that? My goddess knows everything." That's right. Her strength hasn't reached the monarch rank, which means that she's an array master. She's number 1 in the pill competition. I didn't expect her array formations to be so powerful as well. My goddess is really omnipotent. All right, don't look so smitten. He's already gone. Sigh, the goddess is left just like that. All right, it's useless for you to sigh. There's nothing left here. Let's go take a look at the ruins. Weren't the people of Heartbreak Valley still in the ruins? Maybe Sima Yue will go to the ruins to look for them. Yeah, let's hurry up and find the ruins. When they heard that Sima Yue might go to the historical remains, many of them flew towards the historical remains. Soon, there was no one left on the grassland. Looking at the peaceful grassland, Sima Yue and Han Miao Shuang sat on Qingyi's tree trunk and wiped their non-existent sweat. At this moment, the Tree of Life was still in the same place, but it was hidden by Qingyi's magic power. "Qingyi, why are we doing this?" Han Miao Shuang asked. "To get rid of these people." "You almost fooled me too," Sima Yue said. "If I didn't sense that little 7 was still here, I would have gone far away." "How is little 7 now?" "Very good. It's almost done evolving." Qingyi said. "That's right, junior sister, what happened just now? How did you suddenly rise by so many levels? What happened to little 7? Han Miao Shuang asked with concern. "There was a problem with little 7's evolution, so I made a contract with her. The power of my advancement was given by the contract." Sima Yue didn't mention how dangerous the situation was. She just explained it briefly. Even so, Su Xiao Xiao and Han Miao Shuang could guess how dangerous the situation was. It wouldn't be solved with the contract because of Sima Yue and Little Seven. It's good that she's fine now. Han Miao Shuang patted her shoulder. I'll go wash up. Although she wasn't seriously injured, she had been struck by lightning and was rolling on the ground. She was in a terrible state. Are you going to dress as a woman in the future? Han Miao Shuang asked. Sima Yu tugged at her skirt and said, let's wear female clothes. To be. All right. Han Miao Shuang held her hands and smiled. You're a girl. It's better to be in female clothes. After those people left, Qing Yi was finally able to live a peaceful life. Although there would be people coming in every time the immortal land opened, and he didn't care about it. But with Little Seven around, he had no patience for those people. I'll go take a look at Little Seven. Sima Yue said to Qing Yi. Qing Yi waved his hand, and she appeared in Tree D where Little Seven was. Little Seven was almost done with her evolution. Sima Yue sat beside her. She wanted to reach out and touch her, but she was afraid to disturb her evolution. She still remembered Qing Yi's anxious look at that time. She remembered him saying that she had already died once. You've known each other for hundreds of thousands of years. Then, Little Seven, have you lived for hundreds of thousands of years? She thought to herself, but your memory is less than 10,000 years. Is it related to the time you died? Why did she and her contract beast have such a painful past? She bore the grudge of her clan's extermination in her past life. Little Dream was the same as her. She didn't expect the carefree Little Seven to have an unknown past. Just as she was staring at Little Seven in a daze, Little Seven transformed into her human form. She pounced on her and pushed her to the ground. After evolving again, her body grew a lot. She already looked like a teenage girl. The danger of evolution didn't affect her good mood. Her eyes were full of smiles. You're done evolving? Sima Yue was happy to see her wake up. I've been done for a while, but you've been in a daze and didn't pay attention to me. Little Seven pouted. Really? Sima Yue smiled. Why is your personality still the same even after growing so much? Let me up first. No. Little Seven giggled. Say, if Brotherling Yu finds out that you're so easy to push down, will he be happy? Sima Yue's face darkened. This little girl. How's your body? Do you feel uncomfortable anywhere? Is your hidden injury healed? She asked. Speaking of the past, Little Seven got down from Sima Yue's body and said, the hidden injury was healed when we made the contract. It won't happen again in the future. What did Qingyi mean by what he said? What's up with you guys knowing each other for hundreds of thousands of years? Don't you only have less than 10,000 years of memory? What's up with dying once? Sima Yue asked after making sure that she was fine. Qing Yi came to their side and looked at them. Little Seven glanced at Qing Yi and said, Qing Yi and I have known each other for hundreds of thousands of years. Qing Yi leaned on his tree trunk. His eyes were filled with pain. Qing Yi and I are companions. We're plants that grew together. Little Seven said, speaking of which, I'm quite lucky. At that time, there weren't as few earth eyes as there are now. But I'm the only one that grew together with the banyan tree. You guys are companions. That means you're childhood sweethearts? Sima Yue said. No wonder Han Miao Shuang said that Qing Yi treated them differently. There was a reason behind it. She guessed that it had something to do with Little Seven. That wasn't wrong, but she didn't expect them to have such a relationship. Little Seven nodded and continued. I evolved earlier than Qing Yi. When I became mature Earth, he was still a small green tree. After that, I was captured by someone to help someone break through to the monarch level. My spirit energy was sucked dry by him, but it wasn't enough. He sucked my life force dry too. Luckily, I managed to protect a little bit of my life force at the last moment. That's why I didn't die completely. It's all my fault. I didn't protect you well. Qing Yi blamed himself and said, I said that I would protect you, but I watched as you were captured and sucked dry by them. They threw you in an unknown place to be battered by the wind and rain for hundreds of thousands of years. Chapter 1117. CPA 300_4. Seeing Ching Yi blaming himself, little Seven got up and came to his side. She held his hand and said, Ching Yi, I've never blamed you. Don't blame yourself. Although it was very painful at that time, it's all in the past. I'm living very well now. You know, I'm living very happily now. Ching Yi looked at Sima Yue gratefully. He knew that it was because of her that little Seven was so happy. However, this did not change the fact that he blamed himself. And then, Sima Yue asked, even if you don't have any signs of life, your flesh is a great supplement for humans. How did you survive? The last thing I heard was someone attacking the sect. As for how they managed to survive, I have no idea. Little Seven said, but that's not important. There's no way to verify what happened in the past. No way to take revenge. Just let it be. I'm a brand new me now. Sima Yue smiled. She was not as open-minded as Little Seven, but it was also true. After hundreds of thousands of years, things had changed. Those people must have died long ago. Even if they wanted to take revenge, they wouldn't be able to find the target of revenge. It was better to let those things go and give himself a carefree future. However, when I left, Ching Yi was still a dendrobium tree. When we met again, he had already evolved into a true tree of life. Little Seven hugged Ching Yi's arm and leaned her head on his shoulder, full of attachment. Now that you're so strong, you have to protect me in the future. Yes, Ching Yi replied. There are no superfluous words, no flowery words, no earth-shattering vows, but Little Seven knew that he would use his actions to prove it. Sima Yue looked at Little Seven's adorable face and thought about how she always said that she wanted to beat people up for no reason. She smiled. She was very happy that Little Seven had found someone she could rely on, even though this happiness came so suddenly. If she was like this in the future, she wouldn't have to worry about Little Seven being too violent. However, she seemed to have thought too early. Because, oh right, Ching Yi, are there a lot of people out there who have designs on you? Let's go out and take care of them. It's a good opportunity to see how strong I am after my evolution. Little Seven said as she pulled Ching Yi out. Sima Yue sat on the ground, looking defeated. She sighed in her heart. Indeed, it was easier to change a leopard than to change its spots. Ching Yi was already used to the current Little Seven. He patted her head and said, those people have already left. There's no one outside now. They all left? How can he be so fast? Fortunately, they all left. Otherwise, they would have been beaten up by you. Sima Yue snorted in her heart. Now we just have to wait for eldest senior brother and the other two to come out. When they come out, we'll go find Feng and the others. She stood up and said, they have already come out. Ching Yi said, I came down just now to tell you about this. Sima Yue blinked. They were so fast. Not everyone can comprehend the Tao here. However, the things they obtained were not bad. All right, she thought that everything was fine. Let's go then. Ching Yi, you said that you would leave with me. Little Seven shook Ching Yi's hand. Ching Yi nodded, then said to Sima Yue, I will plant the source in the spirit pagoda. Sima Yue nodded and brought them into the spirit pagoda. Before she comprehended the Tao, she was still thinking if she could seduce Ching Yi to leave with them. She didn't expect Little Seven to settle this matter so quickly. Ching Yi went to choose a spacious area, then opened his right hand. A miniature version of the tree of life appeared in his palm. He planted the small seed in the soil. That tree grew at a speed visible to the naked eye. Soon, it was the same size as the tree outside. It's done. Little Seven moved her original body over and planted it next to Ching Yi's tree. This way, the two of them could be together forever. This is the legendary tree of life. Thousand Resonants looked at the tree of life excitedly. In his inheritance, the tree of life was unreachable. He didn't expect it to appear in front of them. Ayaya, then can we cultivate here in the future? Ye Guang asked. Of course you can. Little Seven held Ching Yi's hand and looked up at him. Ching Yi, is there a problem? Ching Yi was already used to the silence and solitude. He didn't really like having people around him, but Little Seven had already agreed. He didn't want her to be unhappy, and he could tell that little Seven liked them a lot. Since that was the case, he would slowly get used to it. Qian suddenly appeared and looked at Qing Yi. I want your 10,000-year essence. Qing Yi looked at Qi Yin and said, the divine vermilion bird actually suffered such a serious injury. Give me the 10,000-year essence. I can give you something in exchange. Qi Yin said, I don't have anything I want. Qing Yi shook his head. He didn't have any desires. Now, he only had one request, and that was little Seven. So, Qi Yin didn't have anything that could attract him. Sima Yue always knew that Qi Yin was injured, but she didn't expect it to be so serious. She thought that he was already quite injured. If even Qing Yi said that it was serious, then how serious was his injury? But Qi Yin never asked for anything. This time, he directly asked Qing Yi for it. It meant that the thing was very important to him. Qing Yi, can you help Qi Yin? She was a little embarrassed. It seemed like she asked him to come in for something. But Qi Yan's health was very important, so she had to ask. Qing Yi. Little Seven shook Qing Yi's hand and looked at him with a smile. Her meaning was self-evident. Qing Yi shook his head helplessly. Why do you have a feeling that a grown girl couldn't be kept at home? But as long as she was happy. Anyway, he would keep this thing anyway. It wasn't of much use to him. Only, like animals to their skins and birds to their feathers, which they do not allow others to touch, they have a different feeling for their own things. A golden branch flew down from the tree and landed in Qi Yan's hand. For you. Qi Yan caught the branch and could feel the vigorous vitality flowing inside. In the future, you can rest on my tree. Qing, he said. And Sima Yue and the others didn't understand. The phoenix perches on the parasol tree. The sparrow perches on the tree. Qi Yin said. This sparrow was referring to the divine vermilion bird. Okay. Little Seven replied. But Qi Yin, you can't poop on my head. Everyone was speechless. Little Seven was too. Little Seven didn't care. In the past, there was a bird that landed on Qing Yi and pooped on her head. She would always remember how she felt at that time. From then on, she hated those birds that pooped on trees. Chapter 11:18. Crimson Flame ignored Little Seven and thanked Qing Yi. Then, he took his essence and flew to the tree crown. Sima Yue looked at the tree of life and thought of the phrase, Phoenix perches on the parasol tree, sparrows perch on the tree. She wondered if Rainbow and the rest came in. She wondered how Feng, and the rest were doing. All right, since we've settled down, let's go outside. Little Seven felt that Sima Yue was worried about Shimin Feng and said, Sima Yue brought them to the tree hole, and Qing Yi brought them out. Han Miao Shuang and the rest were waiting outside. When they came out, they flew to them and said, Little Seven, you evolved successfully? I said something happened to you before. Are you okay now? No, I'm fine. Little Seven said. Han Miao Shuang touched Little Seven's head and sighed. Little Seven has grown so big. She's a big girl now. Little Seven slapped her hand away. You sound like an old woman. So you think you're old? Old? How can I be old? I'm forever 16. Han Miao Shuang said with her chin raised. Yes, you'll always be a little girl. Little Seven giggled. But whether you're old or young, it's all the same in his heart. After speaking, she even raised her chin at Jiang Junxian. All right, you've grown up. Your bad heart has also grown up. See how I'll deal with you. Han Miao Shuang said and went to hit Little Seven. Little Seven ran towards Jiang Junxian. When Han Miao Shuang was about to grab her, her figure flashed and hid behind him. Han Miao Shuang immediately jumped into his arms. All right, Little Seven is like this. Why are you fighting with her? Jiang Junxian held on to Han Miao Shuang's waist and said softly. Han Miao Shuang's face flushed red. She came out from his arms and said, Help me catch her. She dares to laugh at me. I'll teach her a lesson today. Little Seven flew between Sima Yue and Qing Yi and said, You found a helper. I also found a helper. You have one. I have two. Han Miao Shuang saw her holding on to Qing Yi's hand and scoffed. You're good. Hee hee. Little Seven smiled proudly. All right, since everyone is out, let's go to the ruins. Feng, and the others are still inside. I'm a little worried and want to take a look. Sima Yue said, then looked at Shi Qiushuang and asked, what about you guys? Shi Qiushuang looked at Shi Qianji and Jiang Junxian. She hesitated and said, we also want to go to the ruins to take a look. Why don't we go together? We'll split up after we leave this island. All right. It's dangerous for both of you to walk on this island. Sima Yue said. Qing Yi, quickly begin. Once you're done, we'll leave. Little Seven let go of Qing Yi. Qing Yi nodded and let everyone leave. He flew into the air and waved his hand. Specks of golden light scattered from his hand and enveloped the entire tree of life. What is he trying to do? Han Miao Shuang asked. He wants to keep the tree. Little Seven said. Why did you put it away? Take him away. Qing, he wants to go with us. Little Seven said. What? He's coming with us. That's right. Why are you so surprised? Little Seven saw that Han Miao Shuang was stuttering and covered her mouth as she left. Humph. Who told you to bully me? Now I'll let you be surprised. Sima Yue, who felt her thoughts, couldn't help but twitch her mouth. When did this little guy get bullied? She was the one who bullied others in the past. Why does he want to go with us? Shi Qianji and the others were stuttering. Qing Yi shrunk the tree of life slowly and finally flew into his hand. All right. Little Seven flew over and came to his side. Qing Yi opened his palm and a small tree of life laid in the middle. Why is your incarnation so cute? Little Seven saw the pocket-sized tree of life and said in surprise, do you like it? Qing Yi asked. So cute. It's much better than mine. Little Seven said. Can you wear it if you like it? Qing Yi took out a green rope from nowhere and rubbed it on the tree of life. The green rope passed through the tip of the tree, and he pressed it with both hands, and the tree of life became a small pendant. He leaned over and put it on for Little Seven and whispered in her ear, you have to bring it wherever you go, okay? Little Seven touched the little tree in front of her chest and nodded subconsciously when she heard his gentle words. Good girl. Qing Yi kissed Little Seven's forehead. Oh my God, is this what it means for the two of them to be together? Shi Qianji and the others rubbed their eyes hard. Not only did Qing Yi want to leave with them, he even wanted to be with Little Seven. What was wrong with this world? Only Little Seven laughed and shook her head. Little Seven was going to flip out. As expected. Qing Yi, why are you so annoying? You actually treat me like a child. Little Seven punched Qing Yi's shoulder, but didn't use much strength. Wasn't the phrase good boy meant for a child? Qing Yi grabbed her hand and laughed in satisfaction. Oh my God, this is completely different from the tree of life from before. Shi Qiushuang muttered. Although Tsing Yi had only killed one person, everyone could feel his indifference and alienation. And this person who was smiling so warmly, was he still the same person from before? Let's go. Sima Yue waved to Little Seven and the others, called out Chongming, and flew up. Do you know where the historical remains are? Qing Yi let go of Little Seven and held her hand instead. I have their direction. Sima Yue took out the scroll and frowned. What's wrong, junior brother? Sima Yue waved her hand on the scroll, and the image of the scroll was projected in the air. We can't find Feng, and the others. Sima Yue said. Han Miao Shuang and the others looked through the entire image and didn't see Shimin Feng and the others. Qing Yi brought Little Seven and flew over. He glanced at the scroll and said, if it's inside the restriction, it won't show up here. Then let's go to the historical remains to take a look. Sima Yue said. Qing Yi, you've been here for so long. Do you know where the historical remains are? Little Seven asked. Qing Yi nodded. He indeed knew where it was. I'll bring you there. He casually drew a circle in the air, and a faint golden light circle was formed. Let's go in. Sima Yue glanced at Qing Yi and flew into the light circle first. Then Han Miao Shuang and Jiang Junxian flew in, followed by Su Xiao and the others. After they all went in, Qing Yi held Little Seven's hand and went in. Everyone thought that he would bring them through the air, But they didn't expect that after Qing Yi entered, the light circle brought them underground. Then, it sped towards a direction. Along the way, if they encountered tree roots, those tree roots would give way in advance. Chapter 11:19. Little Seven sat beside Qing Yi. Looking at the dark surroundings, she asked, Qing Yi, why don't we walk by air or underground? Sometimes the space looks the same, but there are distortions. We may look like we are walking straight, but we might go astray. Qing Yi explained, also, I'm more familiar with the land. I'll know where we are if we walk underground. I see. Everyone's doubts were solved. They didn't expect there to be such a thing. Others didn't know, but Sima Yue understood. It was definitely not easy to find the remains of an emperor. It was a piece of cake for them to make some changes in space. She estimated that they traveled underground for 5 to 6 days before Qing Yi brought them back to land. He waved his hand, and the light circle disappeared. Is this the remains? They looked around. There wasn't a single person. We're outside the remains. There are restrictions in the remains. It'll be dangerous if we continue walking. Qing Yi said. Sima Yue looked around. The flowers were still lush. There weren't any traces of being stepped on, which meant that no one came here recently. Han Miao Shuang and the others also noticed this and said, no one came here before. Is this really outside the remains? The aura is right. Qing Yi didn't say anything after he finished speaking. He stood quietly at the side. He brought them here, but it didn't mean that he would always help them. He couldn't help them for everything. He said before, unless Little Seven's life was in danger, he wouldn't do anything else. Sima Yue knew this too, so she was very grateful that Qing Yi brought them here. The remains are so big, it's impossible to find every place. She said, I'll let the bees observe the environment here. She called out a few hundred scarlet bees and let them fly around. A few of them flew into the restrictions by mistake and lost contact immediately. Such a strong restriction. Sima Yue gasped. What's wrong? That restriction can actually break the contract. Sima Yue said, maybe it's because the bees and the queen bee have a master-slave contract. It's one to many. It can break the contract, which means that it's very strong. As expected of an imperial emperor. Even though it's just a ruin, it's still so powerful. Sure, Qianji sighed. If we can get his things or inheritance, that would be great. Han Miao Shuang said. There's actually nothing here. Qing Yi suddenly said, the immortal realm has been opened many times, and the things inside have all been taken away. You know that too? Many people have come here in the past, so I've heard about what they obtained. But this ruin is so big, it can't be that everything was taken away, right? There might be some that slipped through the net. Sure, Qianji said. There are many people who are stronger than you. Although Qing Yi's words were not pleasant to hear, it was the truth. Are they all that powerful? I don't think those people are much. The immortal realm doesn't only open in this realm. The people from other places are much stronger than your realm. Qing Yi said. However, these people were much more talented in comprehending the Tao than people from other places. Other realms? This world isn't just limited to this place. The entire world is infinitely big. Even I don't know how many there are. Qing Yi said. No problem. I'll bring you around the world in the future. Little Seven said with a smile. All right. Qing Yi smiled, making Little Seven dazed. They looked for the entrance while waiting. After more than a day, the scarlet bees finally sent back news. Sima Yue summarized their information and said, we're now in the east of the ruin, which is the closest to where Feng, and the others went missing. It said that this place has the most powerful restrictions, so very few people come here. That's good. No one will steal our things. Little Seven said, if we want to go in, we have to break these restrictions first. Sure, Qianji said, the more powerful it is, the harder it is to break. This shouldn't be difficult, right? Little Seven didn't know much about making these things, but she knew from Sima Yue and the others' expressions that it shouldn't be easy. And Jiang Jun Xian, Han Ming Xiang, and Su Xiao Xiao were alchemists. Sure, Qianji was an alchemist and poison master. And sure, Xiao Shuang wasn't a professional master, so they weren't good at making these things. And little Seven, she couldn't count on her. So Yue had to solve these restrictions herself. But, Yue, have you solved this restriction before? No. Sima Yue's words almost made everyone choke on their own saliva. But this restriction is similar to enchantments and arrays, so it shouldn't be that difficult, right? Maybe. But in the end, you've been studying for a few days, but you still haven't found a way. Little Seven squatted beside Sima Yue and looked at her drawing on the ground. No. Sima Yue threw away the branch in her hand and sighed. Although this restriction is similar to those, I can't find a way at all. Even you can't do it. So how did they get in? Little Seven asked. No one in Heartbreak Valley seems to know how to break this restriction, right? No, but what? Sima Yue thought of someone. Before she came in, she called Shimin Li out to join everyone. After Shimin Feng left, Shimin Li followed him. Maybe this restriction was opened by the thing in her body. She didn't know why, but she felt that this possibility was very high, and this was the only reason she could think of that Shimin Feng and the rest could enter without breaking the restriction. Then what do we do now? Let's find a place to enter the historical remains first. Sima Yue said. If this place didn't work, then they would go in from another place. Maybe they would find another way inside. Okay. They took a detour for 2 days and came to a mountain near the south. The restriction here had been broken by someone before. There were more people here, and they met people very quickly. Fortunately, Qing had changed his appearance before those people came, or else he would have been recognized. But even so, Sima Yue and Han Yaoshuang's appearance here caused quite a commotion. Very quickly, many people inside and outside the historical remains knew that she was here. Sima Yue would be surrounded by people everywhere she went, and now she finally understood how those famous people felt. Unfortunately, she didn't like this kind of treatment. But this also brought her a benefit. Those people knew that she was looking for people from Heartbreak Valley, and those who knew some clues told her, letting her know a lot about Shimin Feng and the rest. At the same time, it also confirmed her guess. The people from Heartbreak Valley could enter without breaking the restriction. It was indeed related to the thing in Shimin Li's body. Chapter 11:20. The person who told her the news said that at that time, Shimin Feng and the others were blocked outside by the restriction. They had originally planned to leave, but a woman said to Shimin Feng, second brother, there are treasures inside. I can bring you in. The only one who could call Shimin Feng's second brother was Shimin Li. Shimin Li's biggest secret was the dough ball in her body. That dough cherished its life very much. Now that it was connected to Shimin Li's life and death, it would not joke around with her life. From this point of view, Shimin Feng and the others' lives were not in danger now. After confirming this point, Sima Yu's heart was more or less relieved. They began to search the ruins to see if they could pick up any scraps. However, after circling around outside, they found that the people who came here before were like locusts passing through, sweeping the place clean. Just when they were about to leave, Sima Yue suddenly felt that the Sun Mother Stone she gave to Shimin Feng sent out a ripple, as if it was asking them for help. Something happened to Feng she said to the person beside her. How did you know? Weren't they unable to communicate with the outside world? Sima Yue took out the Mother-Sun Stone, and the energy waves had yet to dissipate. Feng and the others have been in there for so long. They must know that they can't communicate with the outside world. If something hadn't happened, he definitely wouldn't have used the Sun Mother Stone to contact me. Although it was only for a moment, it was a signal for help from him. This place is not far from where they entered. Let's hurry over and take a look. Jiang Junxian said. Yes. They ran all the way to the east and arrived at the place where Shimin Feng and the others disappeared. They discovered that the space here was fluctuating. Someone is breaking the restriction. Han Yaoshuang said. Let's go and take a look. They turned around the canyon and saw a huge courtyard. A group of people was waiting outside. They didn't attack the restriction. Han Yaoshuang said softly. Someone should be coming out. Sima Yue said, Let's see who it is. The restrictions here were not destroyed, which meant that there was another person who could ignore restrictions. Looking at the clothes of the people outside, she could roughly guess who was inside. After a while, Xianxiu, he came out from the courtyard. He immediately sensed Sima Yuyua's aura and looked in her direction. Young master. The people of Xianxiu clan surrounded him. Young master, did you succeed? Young master, inside. Xianxiu, he raised his hand to silence them. Only then did everyone realize that he had been looking behind him. They looked back and finally noticed Sima Yuyu and the others in the distance. Xianxiu, he patted the wheelchair, and the wheelchair rose from the ground, landing not far away from Sima Yuyue and the rest. Sima Yue walked over and said, Xianxiu, I didn't expect you to be here too. When I heard that you were a girl, I was a little surprised. Xianxiu, he said, I didn't think that it was true. Sima Yue smiled and asked, Did you get something good when you came out? Xianxiu, he did not hide it and replied, There are some inheritances inside. I was lucky enough to obtain one or two. Can you go inside directly? Sima Yue asked. Yes. Then any restriction will work. Xianxiu, he was a smart person. When he heard her question, he knew what she was thinking. You want to find your Valley Lord? He asked. Yes, I just received his request for help. There should be danger inside. Sima Yue said, Can you help me go in? I can help you, but... Xianxiu, he hesitated. But what? I have something that can allow people to enter and exit the restriction at will. But only one person can use it. Even if I give it to you, you can only go in alone. Xianxiu, he said, but no one knows what's going on inside. There are so many people in Heartbreak Valley who need help. If you go in, it might not be useful. Instead, you will put yourself in danger. Please lend it to me. Sima Yue said, I have no problem. Have you thought about it? Sima Yue nodded and said, I have. Please help me. Xianxiu, he saw that her attitude was firm. He took out something that looked like a leaf, pulled her hand, and placed it in her palm. I hope to see you come out. When Sima Yue touched the leaf, she felt comfortable all over and asked, What leaf is this? Bodhi leaf. This is the only one in the world. Xianxiu, he said. Bodhi leaf. Sima Yue was shocked. There really was a Bodhi tree in the world. Legend has it that comprehending Tao under the Bodhi tree could get twice the result with half the effort. Its effect was not inferior to the tree of life. However, the Bodhi tree comprehended Tao more related to Buddhism, while the tree of life comprehended Tao more related to life. In the past, the tree of life and the Bodhi tree were legendary divine trees. Now that she had seen the tree of life, she didn't expect to see the Bodhi leaf again. She held the Bodhi leaf in her hand and said, I will come out. I will bring them out together. I owe you one. I already said that we are friends. Friends help each other when they see each other. There's no need to be calculative about this. Xianxiu, he said. Okay. She nodded. However, she didn't think that way. He didn't care, but she couldn't forget. The people from Heartbreak Valley are in the two valleys in front. Xianxiu, he said. How do you know? Xianxiu, he was slightly startled and said, When I came in, I heard that they were from your sect. So I asked someone to find out. Thank you. Sima Yue said gratefully. You're welcome. I'll bring you there. Then I'll have to trouble you. Xianxiu, he brought them around two corners and came to a valley. He said, It's here. Sima Yue looked around. The valley from the mountaintop to the valley was covered in a thin layer of fog. She couldn't see what was going on inside at all. The restriction here is very powerful. It must be more dangerous inside. You have to be careful. If there's danger that you can't handle, escape. No matter what's inside, it won't be able to escape this restriction. As long as you bring it outside, it'll be safe. Xianxiu, he said. I got it. Sima Yue nodded. Then, she turned around and said to Han Miao Shuang and the others, Do you want to go to other places to take a look? Han Miao Shuang shook her head and said, We'll wait here for you to come out. At the same time, we'll think of a way to open this restriction. That's good too. Sima Yue said, Little 7, I'm your contracted beast now. I definitely have to go in with you. Little 7 said, Just wait for me here. The restriction is useless to me. Ching, he said. That meant that he wanted to go with little Seven. After being separated for hundreds of thousands of years, he didn't want her to leave his sight, even for a minute. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.